Ladies and gentlemen, it's Wednesday, October 5th, 2016. I'm your host, Alex Jones. We're going to be here live for the next 4 hours. Paul Watson will be hosting the fourth hour. Dr. Jerome Corsi, three-time #1 New York Times bestseller, political expert, will be joining us, not just on Campaign 2016, but also the global economy, Deutsche Bank, and more, because that's where he's a real expert, is on banking and the world economy. Though he's known for politics, he's a master of many hats. He'll be joining us. Wow. Unbelievable debate last night. Governor Pence completely cleaned the floor with Tim Kaine. And I've got to be really, really frank with everybody. I don't normally get scared, but there's something scary about a weird demonic weasel in control of the country. Something weird about a Nelly tyrant. Something creepy. I'm not creeped out by a woman, but if a woman's a tyrant, I'm creeped out by it. If a strong man is a tyrant, I'm creeped out by it. But when they're a weird Nelly type, kind of Grimer, Wormwood, sneaky, rat-like person, it gives me the willies. And I'm even more freaked out now. In fact, I'm so in sync with Donald Trump because he's just a common sense guy. I've said many times, Tim Kaine looks like a crook. He looks like, I'm going to be honest, he looks like a child molester to me. I mean, he looks like the archetypal child molester. And I'm not saying he's a child molester. He just looks like what I would think of as a child molester. And I'm sorry to have to talk like that. I'm going to be honest. Well, Donald Trump tweeted out that he looks like an evil crook. And that's a nicer way of saying it. Tim Kaine comes off as really evil, really slimy, really sneaky. And I just was completely honest with everybody, and I can't help it. In fact, I apologize to Mr. Kaine. I didn't even plan this, but it's the truth, and I can't hold back anymore. He's probably not that. In fact, I'm sure he isn't. I know he's an evil globalist. No, he wants our guns, wants open borders. He wants to rape the country. He wants to molest our Bill of Rights and Constitution. But I'm sorry, he looks like central casting. If I was a Hollywood producer and I was hiring a slimy-looking person to play the part of a person that like swindles families or, does really horrible stuff, or that sold kids on an auction block and, in an underground base in Vegas to Saudi sheiks, hypothetic horror movie. Even though that really goes on, I would typecast, I would say Tim Kaine is the man. I kind of unintentionally troll the media. It's going to be a headline all over the country today, and that's fine. Because truth is truth, and if I look at a beautiful vista sunrise in Colorado, I describe it as I see it. If I look at Marilyn Monroe in her prime, juiciness comes to mind, and just feminine goddess. When I talk about Donald Trump, he is a over-the-top, aggressive, masculine, pro-America golden toad. Toad-like creature. A magical toad. I look at Tim Kaine, and I see rack and ruin. I see the fall of this country. I see defeat. Only more evil-looking creature out there, I would say, and, of course, her actions follow that, is Hillary with the big rubber plastic Joker mask that she's all... Here's Hillary for TV viewers. And I know they're going to take that shot and make me look crazy. I don't care, because I'm fighting the New World Order. That's my job, is to be destroyed if need be, exposing these people. But I'm hitting the barbed wire and hurting them bad. Big debate highlights, tons of massive news, you name it. The latest on the hurricane. Stay with us. I'm Alex Jones. They want to censor this transmission for good reason. We're hurting them and hurting them bad with the truth. Infowars.com. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now only 33 days out from one of the most important, if not the most important, elections in the 242-year history of this greatest republic to ever be on the face of the earth, the New Atlantis, founded by liberty lovers in the UK. What is the UK today from jolly old England? All right, ladies and gentlemen, get ready, because I am going to be a good boy today. I am going to really sock it to the enemy. And I am going to go through a whole bunch of debate highlights from last night. I let the crew take over since I did the Assange non-event wiki tease coverage the night before. The crew did a great job. That full 3+ hour coverage and the debate is on Infowars.com if you missed any of it. Wow, where to begin? And if you are a longtime listener and you have friends and family you want to wake up, you can go get our 3 hours of debate coverage, send it to them, and say, hey, this is really interesting. This might change your mind. Because we hit things from an angle that the establishment media doesn't. This is an info war. So I know you, the listeners, are awake. In a lot of cases, more awake than I am. What I'm asking you to do is to go out and to wake up others. And obviously, you know that, but we need to consciously do that every single day. Before I get into the debate that Governor Pence clearly won in a huge, huge margin, even mainstream liberal media is having to admit it because the trouncing was so over the top. Despite that, they are still trying to spin things for Creepy Kane. Now, in the last segment, if you just joined us, I said he looks like somebody I wouldn't let my children stay with as a babysitter. He looks like a creep. He looks like the Grinch that stole Christmas. He acts like a creep. And he's all tied into the Jesuits and the rest of it, so you know all that weirdness that's going on. And the guy is trying to sell out our sovereignty, get rid of our borders, and take our guns. And so I made the point. I said he looks like a child molester. And I'm sorry. He's known as Creepy Kane. I'm not saying he's a child molester. I don't believe that. I'm not trying to imply that. I'm saying I wouldn't buy a stick of bubble gum from this guy, and I wouldn't associate with him because he gives me the willies and the back of my spine crawls when I look at him. And I've been saying this since she selected him, that he looks like a creep. Now he's known as Creepy Kane on the internet. And we're not just saying this to defeat Hillary. She looks like a wicked Joker. He looks like a wicked cross between the Grinch and the Joker. I mean, he just has the mannerisms of a frickin' demon. The Return of the Grinch, Tim Kaine, the Grinch. I mean, he looks like Renfield, like the servant of Dracula. A cross between Quasimodo and Renfield and the Grinch and, I don't know, Jeffrey Dahmer. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, if I was going to cast a creepy serial killer that grabs kids out of the back of their yards and puts them in white pervert vans, I would cast him. He has a shot in Hollywood. He could be the #1 star in the world playing the part of child kidnappers. This is the guy that is trying to kidnap our country right now. Yes, I've taken the gloves off and I put brass knuckles on. Get ready. It's day 33. I'm going in, through and beyond. Absolutely caution to the wind. You want the real deal. You want clobbering time. You want the gloves off. You got it. Because I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, unequivocally, there is not going to be any future in this nation if we don't reverse this. Look at this headline, and I have a video clip. I didn't see that in my video list. I forgot to ask you guys, please get it. And then the other clip of the chairman of the Joint Chiefs saying something similar 2 weeks ago. U.S. Army chief threatens war with Russia. We will beat you harder than you've ever been beaten before. He said, prepare for a war as big as World War II to the U.S. Army and other armed services. And that's because the neocons running Obama have begun to prepare for a war with Russia, and they're trying to trick Russia into a response. And with the October surprise, and CNN has hinted at this and others have, is a war with Russia. And again, I said this last week, it finally clicked, because I was so close to the problem I couldn't see the elephant in the room or the mushroom cloud in the room. I kept saying, why do they accuse Trump and Pence and myself and Drudge and Breitbart and everyone under the sun? I mean, they actually put us on TV and put my head beside Putin's and Trump's and say, I mean, you heard Hillary in her speech. She said, these alt-right people get their orders from Putin. He's their godfather. This is the most, I get my orders from common sense, Bill of Rights, Constitution, and my family name and the spirit of God that pulls my strings. I certainly don't get it from Vladimir Putin. I mean, I've never been to Russia. Don't have one drop of Slavic blood in me. But I don't want to have war with Russia for no reason. I know the elements. I know what's going on. And it hit me. It clicked like a ton of bricks hitting me in the head from 1,000 feet up. Oh, my gosh. They want to put their opposition in a corner when they start a war. That's one of their main plans, to bring in permanent emergency and martial law and rationing and all the controls. And Agenda 21 is through a war. Globalism is rationing, is the end of prosperity, is a command and control economy where the globalists pick the winners, where they're above the law. And it hit me. That's why they're encircling Russia with weapons. That's why they're trying to start a war. That's why they're destabilizing these countries and overthrowing them like Ukraine and turning the Middle East over to radical Islam. Because they're going to ally with radical Islam against Russia in a war and then flood Europe with Islam to conquer it and then conquer us as well as a police state using the threat of Islam. But Europe is slated to be given to Islam. And it all just crystallized. Then I can go read white papers where they're actually saying this is their plan. So it's so diabolical. It's led by weirdos with huge jack-o'-lantern heads like Hillary that look like rubber Joker faces and creepy Kane creeping around. I mean, you ask, why would they do something so evil? Because these are evil people. And let me explain something else to you. Do you know who the neocons are? Let's be extremely clear about this, okay? I've studied it. I've read their books. They're from the Chicago Business School and Harvard. They took it over. The Trotskyites ran with billions of dollars of gold and diamonds and other goodies they robbed when Stalin kicked Trotsky out of the country, okay? This is pre-World War II. He was later killed in Mexico City with a ice axe. In the old days, they hacked up big deals of ice where you got your ice from an ice house, not from your refrigerator or freezer. The media will probably say it's a conspiracy theory that we never had, ice houses. But the point is, he was killed with that, but I'm going into two little factoids that don't matter. With the billions, just like the Bushes were the main Nazi lawyers, Prescott Bush is on record. That's been London Guardian, New York Times, Associated Press. It's admitted. The Bushes were the main bagmen for a lot of the Nazi money in South America and Central America. That's why they're secretly so powerful, is because they're so incredibly rich. It's why a 30-something-year-old guy, as soon as he turns 40, is made director of the CIA. Nobody ever did that before. Or George Herbert Walker Bush. And Skull and Bones was founded by the Germans. It's a Germanic death cult, but a side issue. The Trotskyites had billions, reportedly, in stolen Russian loot from Christians and other people they'd robbed from Poland to Ukraine to Russia proper. And they got kicked out by Stalin. Say what you want about him. He kicked the Trotskyites, led by Leon Trotsky. They all ran to Mexico and then changed their names and stuff and went into the U.S. with all this money. And that's who founded, this is in the Washington Post, by the way. I mean, this is not secret. This is who founded the modern neocons, and they took over the Republican Party, and their mission was always to reconquer Russia. And so you wonder why it's like a suicide mission to get Russia. It's because Grandpa and Daddy got killed by the Russians, and most of the Trotskyites didn't make it out, but their kids did. And now their kids, Crystal, all of them, are the neocons. They sit there and act real friendly and real nice. These guys are actually sitting, reportedly, on huge, again, underground wealth like the Bushes, and are super powerful with communist money that they brought into the country. And look at how they run things. So that's why they're trying to start a war. But we have the chairman of the Joint Chiefs last week. We have that clip where he said that, okay, you want a no-fly zone? We got to have war with Russia. Do you have that clip? Okay, I'm going to play that clip in the next segment, and then I want to get to this article. U.S. Army chief threatens war with Russia. We will beat you harder than you've ever been beaten before. Goes on and says, this war will be bigger than anything we've seen this generation and will be the size of World War II. Get prepared. That's Army Chief of Staff General Mark Milley. Warned last night that the United States was ready to, quote, destroy its enemies in comments that were clearly directed at Russia. I want to be clear to those who do wish to harm us, the United States military, despite all of our challenges, despite our operational tempo, despite everything have been doing, we will stop you and we will beat you harder than you've ever been beat before. Make no mistake about it. The general went on to warn that Russia and other countries have taken advantage of U.S. being focused on the war on terror. So he goes on and puts Russia in the same group as North Korea and China, that our government has been arming and giving nuclear reactors to, and missile secrets, everything else. Russia's got 2.5 military bases, one small port and 2 other bases. They're not attacking anybody, and that's why they're being targeted. And they're being encircled, and they think this is going to be the detonator for the full takeover of society. And he goes on to say, he cautioned that the next major conflict would, quote, be lethal, unlike anything our Army has experienced, at least since World War II, and would involve fighting in highly populated urban areas. Make no mistake about it. We can now and we will retain the capability to rapidly deploy, he said, and we will destroy an enemy anywhere, anytime, he concluded. Yeah, I mean, I guess, 20 million Germans did die in World War II, and I guess they had the same idea. Because the Russians were willing to have 20 million people died and not be over. I mean, 20 million Russians died, 21 million Germans. Look it up. And I get it. You can go kill them, and because the neocons said so, and it's liberal to have World War III, and it's fun, and it's trendy, and you've got the Hollywood Reporter admitting that the elite are all running to New Zealand to sit it out while we all kill each other, and the globalists bring down their enemy, the United States and Russia, at the same time. This is the type of garbage that's going on. Russia tells its citizens nuclear war with the West could happen soon. So there's an hour-long speech that the head of the Army, Chief of Staff General Mark Milley, gave. It's on armytimes.com, by the way, if you doubt Infowars.com, where he says we're going to have casualties in basically a war as big as World War II. We haven't seen anything like this since World War II. We're ready to go to war with Russia right now. And that's why you saw the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Dumford, a week and a half ago, say, yes, you're asking us to do a no-fly zone. You're asking us, that's the full speech. We played it a few weeks ago, to shoot cruise missiles in and shoot down Russian aircraft. Yes, but then they're going to respond to where those missiles came from. And that's going to be World War III. So the reason generals are coming out and speaking like this is actually to stop the politicians and the neocons and the Obama people with Hillary from launching World War III. I can tell you right now, and I'm not lionizing the U.S. Army, but it does not want nuclear war with Russia. It knows Russia is not expanding. Our military is actually concerned about China. And you notice the politicians have actually listened to that and have pivoted to the Pacific. But the globalists, because they want to take control of the United States and have a big war, they want to push Russia into confrontation. They've already got an economic war going. But I've got the crew going through the hour-long speech to grab. I mean, I read to you where he says, as big as World War II, we haven't seen anything like this since World War II. We can destroy you. We're ready for war. We're on the verge of war. And I just see these clips out of Russia every day. I see these clips out of the Pentagon every day. And I keep warning people. And they have mainstream news articles making fun of us, saying we're fearmongers. None of this is going on. So the trendies can all just sit around making jokes all day. This isn't funny. I have 3 children. That's why I'm taking the gloves off. And you know what? If I think Tim Kaine looks like a weird pervert, I'm going to say it. He acts like one. He acts like a political molester of the Constitution. The gloves are off. Brass knuckles are on. You people are not starting World War III. Do you understand? The Communist Chinese basically run our media now and have their product placement everywhere. They're the ones taking over all the rare earth minerals, all the major ports, the Panama Canal. They got their agents everywhere. Russia is on the verge of collapse, and you're trying to start World War III with them. It's bull. And the same globalist did the October Revolution in 1917 on record. The same globalist funding Black Lives Matter and Revolution Here are the very same grandchildren of the same robber baron elites and people that are doing all this. Remember Hillary a month ago threatened Russia with war? If we think Russia launches a cyber attack, we'll physically attack? We have that. Then I'm going to play the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Dumford. But here is Hillary Clinton just to remind you of how serious the situation is.
You've seen reports. Russia's hacked into a lot of things. China's hacked into a lot of things. Russia even hacked into the Democratic National Committee. Maybe even some state election systems. So we've got to step up our game. Make sure we are well defended and able to take the fight to those who go after us. As president, I will make it clear that the United States will treat cyber attacks just like any other attack. We will be ready with serious political, economic, and military response.
And a month before that, NATO said its new policy is if they think someone in Russia launches a cyber attack, they attack Russia. We covered that at the time, and no one seemed to care. There's the headline from The Hill. Clinton, treat cyber attacks like any other attack, respond militarily. Now, coming up, we have Tim Kaine, the creepy Kaine, as he's known. I don't know if he's a pervert, but he certainly looks like a creep and acts like a creep and is anti-American and wants open borders, saying that terrorism is over. It doesn't exist. Really, ISIS calls for random knife attacks in alleys, forests, and beaches, and less than 1 day later, 3 Belgian police officers stabbed in suspected terror attack as they scream Allah Akbar all over malls in the U.S., all over malls in Kenya, malls in Germany, malls in France, malls in Belgium. This is what goes on. Cops at parks, cops getting out of their car, you know, being stabbed. Nothing to do with Islam, though. Oh, ISIS, that's the group that has absolutely nothing to do with Islam. You've opened our borders up, you little traitor, with Hillary, and now you tell us terror doesn't exist, like you control reality. Let's go to this clip of the chairman of the Joint Chiefs saying, yeah, I can follow your orders. I can launch cruise missiles right now. They're like, can't you just shoot down the Russian planes? Yeah, then Russia will respond. 2 + 2 = 4. These people are crazy. Let's go to the clip.
For Syria.
What about the option of controlling the airspace so that barrel bombs cannot be dropped?
All the options.
What do you think of that option, sir?
Right now, Senator, for us to control all of the airspace in Syria would require us to go to war against Syria and Russia. That's a pretty fundamental decision that certainly I'm not going to make.
So that's why you have the chairman of the Joint Chiefs coming out, and now you have the head of the Army coming out saying, all right, we're ready to fight Russia, because they know the elites are telling them to go to war, so they're trying to make Russia back down. Yeah, we're ready to take you on, Russia, and we're ready to have something big as World War II. Is the public listening? We're ready to have a war as big as World War II. We're ready to have a war. We're ready to go to war if you order us to, but is that what you want? Everybody want a new world war? A new world war? Because that's what they're saying. World War III is what it's called. Hard to believe it's already October 5th, 2016 on this Wednesday edition. Only 33 days until Election Day, and then one more day, epic day. So I guess 34 days total until we know who El Presidente is. I kind of smell a tie. I kind of smell a deadlocked Supreme Court and then a big constitutional crisis. Because magically that Supreme Court justice died, so there could be a deadlock. Yes, a lot of things are afoot. And we're not in Camelot anymore, are we? We're more like in Mordor. All right. Earlier, I spent time, if you just joined us, with the head of the Army saying we're about to possibly have a war. In fact, it was more egregious than that. He said, basically, we're preparing. It looks like we're going to have a war that we haven't seen since World War II. That means World War III. And that the Army is ready to take on Russia. And then he mixed in like North Korea and China and Iran into that, but the main target is Russia. That's why he said Russia first. He cautioned the next major conflict would be highly lethal, unlike any our Army has experienced, at least since World War II, and would involve fighting in highly populated urban areas. Why do you think they're talking like this now? Because that's how the Trotskyites that run the government to a great extent are able to go after their political opposition when this happens, is they say everyone against World War III, everyone against open borders, everyone against carbon taxes, everyone against the EU takeover, everyone against the UN running our schools and our police departments under the Strong Cities Initiative. It's all being announced. Washington Post now. UN overseeing our elections. It was wild a month ago, I told you. Now, last week, it's like, yeah, the UN's here. Thank goodness, to fight the evil Tea Party. And you're like, this doesn't make sense. This is backfiring. This is discrediting them. Not if there's a big war in Europe, not if there's a limited nuclear exchange. Everybody will get real scared and get in line. At least that's what the establishment thinks. And then the very people trying to bring us a Soviet-style occupation, the leftist, globalist control freaks that are talking about Hillary's fun camps, can have a command and control economy that they sit on top of and become fabulously wealthy with and settle their scores with their political enemies. Just like they've said on MSNBC, of course we audit and arrest Tea Party and Christians and conservative groups. You're racist. You don't have a right to exist. And Hillary gets up and says, the alt-right, I'm going to shut them down when I get in office. And she means business. So you know what, sweetie cake? We mean business too. Brass knuckles just went on. I think Tim Kaine looks like a child molester. I'm going to say it. Because I know the public doesn't half the time care about hardcore political facts in World War III, but stuff like him looking like a child molester sticks, doesn't it? Because you know what? The shoe fits, doesn't it? He just looks like the creepiest weirdo you could dredge up out of hell itself, out of some nightmare. So you want us to play rough, sweetie? We're going to play rough now. You want to see it go up another level? Up, 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 up. We got lots of switches to flip. You like this switch? You like that switch? You want this switch to get flipped? How about a whole bunch more get flipped? And I'm not the only one flipping switches, darling. The switch is getting flipped. That's why you look like a deer in the headlights. Because you've been pushing around a lot of strong, good people, thinking we're weak, thinking we're cowards. You've been taking our reluctance and our restraint as weakness. You've taken our chivalry as weakness when you know deep down we're not weak. The New World Order wants a fight. They want an info war. They want to go beyond those lands, into the lands of fire. You think little hunchback, wimpy creatures like Hillary Clinton go into the lands of fire? She hates those that go into the lands of fire. She wants to destroy those people while she simultaneously uses them against our enemies. And the men that come from the lands of fire see you, Hillary, and they know who you are, and they know who Obama is, and who George Soros is, and who Michael Moore and all these pig-like creatures are with their bodyguards, hating poor Americans, making fun of Bernie Sanders supporters as basement dwellers who you helped put in the basement. Well, here's a little news flash, sweetheart. We're coming out of the basement. Roger Stone's calling me a bunch. I did want to get him on today. I talked to him last night. Let's get Roger Stone on the broadcast. Go ahead and call him. I meant to tell you that. Now, I talked to Stone, but I also talked to two other sources I have, because I don't just go off what Stone says. I've found to be very, very accurate. This is the first time he's ever been wrong about the WikiLeaks thing. And I learned that Assange has got two lawyers, one in the U.S., one in Europe. One's French, one's American, obviously. And they scared the hell out of one of them did, the New York lawyer, that if you go public with this stuff, you're over. So he canceled Wednesday. He said over security concerns. And then he basically choked. And he is basically waiting on some type of deal, totally scared. He's been in there 4+ years. I haven't been in his shoes. I got mad sitting up, till 5 in the morning and feeling like I got chumped. Now I know what happened, so I'm going to say it because I'm a big man when I'm wrong. And I mean this not as tongue-in-cheek. I absolutely mean it. Every time I talk about World War III, I start sweating, folks. I figured it out. I just have like an actual physical response now in my body to just how upsetting. Top generals talking about a war as big as World War II, nuclear war is about to happen. The Russians' headlines are saying, getting ready for nuclear war. Totally freaks me out. Russia tells citizens nuclear war with the West could happen soon in that's Metro News out of England. This is mainstream news in Russia. I mean, this is getting crazy. The Metro is the big paper you see for free on all the big subways in London. I mean, the Metro is talking about nuclear war, and the Russians quoting them saying, get ready, with 40 million people doing a drill in major cities. But getting back to Assange, they did come out yesterday. We have the clip coming up after I play some debate clips. His lawyer did go on Al Jazeera and said, within a couple days, we will release the Clinton, quote, all the Clinton information. So that's good. That's what I wanted to hear. I believe you're already planning it. I think because of the pressure, you're doing the right thing. Do it. But all I'm saying to you is, I apologize. I'm not in your shoes. I'm somewhat in your shoes, but not in your shoes like you are, Assange. I think you're a hero. You've got a great track record. And I apologize for calling you names and being mean at 5 a.m. in the morning. I got angry, and I really can't stand Hillary Clinton. And I was projecting my anger for Hillary and the New World Order onto you. And you've already done so much in the fight that you could quit everything now, and you're a hero. Just don't betray anybody and don't destroy the fact that you are a hero. So I apologize to Julian Assange from the bottom of my heart that I went off the rails the other night and said those things. So I'm done talking about it. Now, if we don't see some stuff released by the end of the week, I'm going to say clearly they got to him, but he's been a soldier for 10 years, and okay, they got to him. We got to move on. Please give the information to somebody else. We got a new Guccifer 2.0 leak that's even bigger. We got a lot of others coming out. We've got to analyze these data dumps right now. That means everybody out there listening needs to get into these. We're linked to them at Infowars.com. We've got folks on it right now, but it's a mountain of evidence to go through. And we're going to be obviously putting that information out as fast as we can in this information war. But when I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And I apologize to Julian Assange because you don't deserve what I said and what I did. I think it would have been smart to apologize and say some things have come up. I can't do it at this time, but we've brought up some important information. Trust us, more's coming. I had the feeling of being chumped. And so I attack when I get attacked. But it's just in the aggregate, in the great sum total, it's not fair. So I apologize. I'm done. I love how the media makes it a thought crime to criticize sometimes 4 or 5 Islamic stabbings a week in the United States that they successfully cover up. Oh, yeah, I've talked to police and others. For every stabbing you hear about with a guy yelling Allah Akbar, there's 3 or 4 or 5 more. But we're having a few a week already. Europe's having them every day in major cities. They're just killing whoever they want. The media just calls it crime. And when you see these calls go out to stab people, it intensifies. And now you're seeing 3 Belgian police officers stabbed and suspected terror attack. That's the Mirror out of the UK. And that's one day after ISIS calls for random knife attacks in alleys, forests, and beaches. And because that's come up, I want to first go to this clip from last night. Here's Kaine saying, terrorism is dead, CBS. Here's Tim Kaine, the Grinch. And when I say he's the Grinch, I don't literally mean he's the Grinch from Dr. Seuss. For the mainstream media out there that's confused. I'm saying he looks like the Grinch. When I say he looks like a child molester, I mean, he looks creepy. That's what Donald Trump's tweeted. He says he looks like Kaine looks like an evil crook. I'd say evil pervert, but whatever. His actions are what matter. But let's go to Kaine raping the truth here.
Gentlemen, I'd like to shift now to the threat of terrorism. Do you think the world today is a safer or more dangerous place than it was 8 years ago? Has the terrorist threat increased or decreased? Senator Kaine.
The terrorist threat has decreased in some ways because bin Laden is dead. The terrorist threat has decreased in some ways because an Iranian nuclear weapons program has been stopped. The terrorist threat to United States troops has been decreased in some ways because there's not 175,000 in a dangerous part of the world. There's only 15,000, but there are other parts of the world that are challenging. Let me tell you this. To beat terrorism, there's only one candidate who can do it, and it's Hillary Clinton.
Who literally is the founder of modern ISIS, funding al-Qaeda out of Libya, and who gave them weapons on record. And if you Google the caliphate they want, it's ultra-massive. If you look at where they already are, it's huge. They have spread into 26 countries last time I checked. I mean, it is a serious situation, ladies and gentlemen. ISIS global presence, and then that's not counting Europe and the U.S. It's actually much, much worse than that. If you're a TV viewer, you can see that. For radio listeners, these are countries where they're battling to actually take control. Serious, serious, serious situation. Okay, let's start going to these clips here because some of these are just over-the-top ridiculous. Let's go ahead and go to Chris Matthews admits that Governor Pence won the debate. The vice presidential debate. Kaine looked desperate at times. Yeah, Kaine looks like somebody you wouldn't do business with. Not just how he physically looks, but the eyes, the mannerisms, the sneakiness of him. Very, very rat-like. Very, very Renfield. Very, very, again, backstabbing. Let's go to that clip.
And yeah, heading up our coverage there. Chris Matthews. Chris.
Brian, I thought it was very illuminating. I thought that Mike Pence did all the things right that Donald Trump did wrong. His body language was excellent. He was very good on reaction. He looked like a grown-up every time, whatever his words were. And, of course, he was playing with a couple deuces against the guy with a full house, so it was very difficult for him in terms of the issues. I mean, he had to defend Donald Trump. But he came across as a grown-up, strong. I thought he was very effective at being a conservative. But I really think he accomplished tonight is made himself probably the front-runner for the Republican nomination in 2020. He hit all the bases on the conservative side. He was pro-life and rather eloquent on it at the end. You may not agree with him, but he was eloquent. I also thought he was very good on the policing issue for the conservative side, very strong against illegal immigration on the conservative side.
Enough.
So he really didn't.
So there's Chris Matthews, knowing everybody knows that Pence destroyed him. I mean, I would say A+ 97. I mean, it was spike the ball in the end zone 10 or 15 times in a football game. It was a rout, 75-3. It was huge, as Trump would say. Now, expanding on that, he goes further. He says Hillary, who didn't even do the Iran deal, it was, mainly Secretary of State Kerry. It's a horrible deal, but he then takes credit for the elimination of the Iranian nuclear weapons program that has been accelerated into high gear. And I don't want war with Iran. I'm not a big saber rattler when it comes, but the truth is, this is a horrible deal. Donald Trump has been advised by generals that know their stuff. And so here's Kane claims that Clinton eliminated the Iran nuclear weapons program. She also discovered the North Pole. Here it is.
She worked a tough negotiation with nations around the world to eliminate the Iranian nuclear weapons program without firing a shot.
Eliminate the Iranian nuclear weapons
Absolutely,
program.
without firing a shot. And instead of 175,000 American troops deployed overseas, we now have 15.
So, we already played Kane saying terrorism's dead, if you thought that last one was funny. Here's Pence rips Hillary over basket of deplorables comment, just as General Flynn did, saying the military are like deplorables. Well, that's like the people that founded this country are supposedly deplorables that were at Lexington and Concord. So here's Pence going on the offensive about deplorables, something I wish Trump would have done 10 or 15 times. Here it is.
Economy, strengthen the rule of law in the country, and make our communities safer once the criminal aliens are out. Then we'll deal with those that remain. But I have to tell you, I was listening to the avalanche of insults coming out of Senator Kane a minute ago.
These were Donald.
He says,
hold on a second.
It's my time, Senator.
It is, in fact, the governor's time.
He says, this is your 2 minutes.
Thanks, I forgive you. He says ours is an insult-driven campaign. Did you all just hear that? Ours is an insult-driven campaign. I mean, to be honest with you, if Donald Trump had said all the things that you said he said, in the way you said he said them, he still wouldn't have a fraction of the insults that Hillary Clinton leveled when she said that half of our supporters were a basket of deplorables. She said they were irredeemable. They were not America. I mean, it's extraordinary. And then she laid one after another ism on millions of Americans who believe that we can have a stronger America at home and abroad, who believe we can get this economy moving again, who believe that we can end illegal immigration once and for all. So, Senator, this insult-driven campaign, I mean, that's small potatoes compared to Hillary Clinton calling half of Donald Trump's supporters a basket of deplorables.
Hillary Clinton said something on the campaign trail, and the very next day she said, you know what, I shouldn't have said that.
She said she shouldn't have said half.
Governor, this is Senator Kane's 2 minutes, please.
Yeah, that's right. So
Hit pause and back it up 5 seconds. It's the very end of the clip. All of the surrogates, I mean all of them, went on CNN, MSNBC, you name it, and said, it's not half of them, it's all of them. Your minions, most of them former Obama and Clinton operatives. I mean, that's who's on Face the Nation, Meet the Press, CNN. It's all their former chiefs of staffs and deputy chief of staffs and press secretaries. Since when did that happen? The last 10 years. Started with Stephanopoulos. It's their people infesting, getting direct talking points, and then he claims that she backed off of that. No, she didn't. She had her surrogates go into high gear. So he's lying. Let's go to the next clip because we have this pulled up. This is General Flynn 2.5 weeks ago talking about the deplorables. We never got to this part of his speech where he says, how dare her call supporters of Trump deplorables when he's got like 85% support in major polls from vets. Again, it's a total distortion. In fact, I saw an article, I think it was the Washington Post this morning, about Pence calls illegals, people here illegally, criminal aliens. Calls migrants criminal aliens. What he did was use the law enforcement term criminal aliens, not they're criminals, they're here, criminals that they've committed felonies. That's who Trump's going to go after. In fact, a lot of hardcore conservatives and maybe people that are a little bit racist that don't want this country to be basically like Latin America with the bloodlines or whatever, they are actually mad at Trump because he's had a plan for over a decade he's talked about to make it easier to come here legally. See, they're going to make it easier if you're not a criminal to come here. You're just not going to get a bunch of free stuff. That's what Trump's doing. Bring good people here from Latin America. And I want to tell the minority of white people that are racist out there and who don't like Hispanics, and they are there. Let's just be honest about this. It is a minority of people. White people aborted all their babies, basically. Half of them. So people that don't kill their kids, that's who is on the planet. So that's Darwin Awards. You kill your kids, you don't deserve to go on. I don't care if the United States is 80% brown in 30 years, as long as they're pro-gun, pro-family, want to go to the stars, want to have freedom, and don't want to be slaves. And we need to get past what color we are and adopt a system of ideas. And look, I know, I see videos every day, I don't even play anymore, of black people and Hispanics, mainly black people, beating up homeless white people, white women, you know, teenagers, 16-year-old women with their kids at the park because they're white. It's like the KKK riding down black people. And you've got Birth of a Nation coming out, you know, hyping race war and the rest of it from a 101-year-old movie. Relive the past, bring all this up, because it's all the globalists can do. They've robbed everybody, they've doubled black unemployment, they've screwed everyone over. All they can do is create division in this country. So yes, it's true. I'll tell you, the quote minorities are way more racist than white people. I live it, I've seen it, I'm 42 years old, 5 times more racist. Because the media has said it's not racist when you're racist, and quote, people with brown skin can't be racist. That's total crap. It's tribalism. You'll have one tribe on one side of a river that's brown and another tribe that's brown, the very same bloodlines, they'll kill each other. It's over land. It's over resources. It's the idea of I go take something from somebody, that's how I get ahead. That's conquest versus renaissance. I want a renaissance system. I want a system where we all get better together. We're under a eugenics system that's the opposite, that promotes unity while it creates absolute division. So later I'm going to get into a review of the new movie Birth of a Nation that's totally meant to cause a race war and shows black people, you know, having atrocities happen to them so that they go out and kill a bunch of white people. And then people go out and find some random homeless white guy and kill him because, you know, he's a white devil. That's what this is. And it targets the most poor, ignorant people in this country. And then it's going to create white racism as well. It's total divide and conquer. It's brutal. It shows how evil this elite is and why this elite needs to be removed immediately. And I'm going to be countering Birth of a Nation and all these movies like Django and, you know, the Weinstein brothers and Quentin Tarantino. They know what they're doing. Robert Rodriguez meets at the White House, gets government funding to put this crap out, to make sure Hispanics stay in the barrio under the control of their Democrat controllers who are nothing but race pimp eugenicists who hope to break up your families and get you so dependent like the average black person they can kill every child you're about to have. So you want to live? You want to have kids? Don't take the Gardasil shot. Don't eat GMO. Listen to me. I want you to live because I want to treat you like I want to be treated. I'm not the devil. I'm the opposite of that. And these people that say they're your leaders, they want to kill you and your family. And in your gut, you know it. Vote Donald Trump if you want to live. It's that simple. Death is what the globalists have to offer, period. All right. Let's get to the next clip here. Let's go to General Flynn because I mentioned him, the former head of Defense Intelligence. Here it is.
The first thing I want to address is this notion of deplorables. And I will tell you, you know, if it's a badge of honor to wear, and I don't consider myself a deplorable person, but if it's a badge of honor to wear, you know, when you think about the individuals who ran out to Lexington Common and formed up against the British to really begin to sort of to fight for American patriotism, to fight for something that they believed in, or as they trailed back to the North Bridge, and you're all familiar with the shot heard around the world, which is where that shot came from, and they fought back an aggressor at that time. You know, and you take that all the way forward to all the men and women who have served and continue to serve in our combat zones around the world today. I mean, these are not deplorable individuals. These are individuals who care deeply for our country. And I will tell you, you know, we should continue to respect the idea of patriots and people who are willing to volunteer and give the last true measure of devotion to this country if required in order to fight for it. And what we have right now in this country is we have a deficit. We have a deficit of leadership in this country right now.
All right, that's General Flynn. He is a patriot. He has exposed that Obama and Hillary run al-Qaeda and ISIS and that he was ordered to give them support. And he refused to follow the order and went to the Joint Chiefs, and they did a deal with Russia to start giving the intel to the Russians and the targeting to begin taking them out. On the invite of the U.S. military, Russia boldly came in under huge casualties, wiped out ISIS, wiped out Al-Qaeda, bombed them, did raids, took them out, rolled them up into 2 towns, and now Obama's removed every general he can, put in new people, and has them bombing the Russians and others. Oh, they're bombing Russians, too. That's why Russia's so upset to try to stop them. I've been told this by our Pentagon sources. And so this is bad, folks. And that's why Russia is all freaking out. And that's why you've got these generals, the new ones they've put in, are being told, you've got to go to war with Russia. And they're going to Congress going, do you really want us to have war with Russia? Because that's what you're asking us to do. They're warning everyone to have a debate, people. They're warning everyone because we have crazy people like George Soros and Tim Kaine and others that will end this planet if they have their way. They're megalomaniacs. They must be stopped. The threat isn't Russia, people. The threat is Tim Kaine and George Soros and Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. They're the clear and present danger. They're the occupiers. They represent the foreign banks that think they're going to sit in New Zealand and be okay when there's a nuclear war. Most models show all major life on Earth dead, dumbass. Even if you were just corrupt, why do you want to have an Earth that's ruined? Because you people are satanic. And you've been given power because you've been possessed. You've been turned over to evil. Let me tell you something. George Soros and Hillary Clinton, you just look at them. Those aren't people, okay? You look at Kaine, he's not a person either. I didn't even plug this hour, ladies and gentlemen. I need fuel. I need funding. We have the best probiotics, the best nutraceuticals, the best solar systems, the best emergency systems, the best storable foods, InfoWarsStore.com, InfoWarsLife.com. Replenish our energy cells so we can fight to the next level. I need your support, InfoWarsLife.com. Refuel the InfoWar, and I pledge to run over the enemy from the front lines. And that's not a claim. It's the truth. I love it. Stand right up against the enemy. Wait till you get in the arena. Some of you never have. Wait till you scale the heights and face the enemy. Wait till you see them fall. Then you know the destiny will be ours. But we must take it in our hands. We must break the enemy. Let's go to drudgereport.com for TV viewers. Radio listeners, I want to see it. This is the satellite photo. And I went and checked NOAA, North American Oceanic Administration. Scary skull of Matthew. Talk about biblical, a biblical name, Matthew. That evil 11 dead as it went over and flooded. More dead to come from cholera reportedly in Haiti. Now it's over the Bahamas. Now the tracks have it going out into the Atlantic and missing a lot of the East Coast, but still hitting some of it. I pray that's the case. I shot a video that's up on Infowars.com. Everybody needs to tweet to Trump. It's highly produced. It's professional. It's focused. It's a plan that is the absolute death blow politically to the Clintons. If Trump pulls the sword from the stone and follows this idea, which I'm sure he's already thought of, and goes and actually renders aid and exposes the Clinton Foundation with the leader of the Haitian Senate and others that have said that they're being robbed by them, the Clintons took billions, it will be devastating, and it will reverse all this garbage that Donald Trump hates black people. It needs to be done. And I need all of you, the listeners, to go to Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. The article is red-linked. The article is red-linked. Americans call on President Trump to visit hurricane-ravaged Haiti. That was Don Salazar's article yesterday. Backlash to World Economic Order, clouds outlook at IMF talks. We've got all that coming up. But then, here's the thing that's red-linked that has the video. Donald Trump to launch emergency mission to Haiti. Question mark. Donald Trump to launch emergency mission to Haiti? Question mark. Haitians still suffering after being looted by Clinton Foundation. It's a powerful video just to expose the Clintons' crimes. 4 wins this weapon. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. I need everyone to cover it. You don't need to give me the credit. I don't care. Just get Trump to Haiti. Imagine that backdrop of Trump there exposing these people. Imagine him there speaking out. Imagine him there going over the whole record of the situation. Here's another one. UN makes power play against Trump. The Hill. Heard this months ago from me, didn't you? I'm not bragging. It's just, listen, we don't make stuff up. We don't say we've got a big announcement and then not have the big announcement like WikiLeaks did. And I've apologized for getting overly mad. I'm just saying. International governments have made a power play against Donald Trump by ratifying an international climate deal earlier than expected, effectively preventing him from canceling the deal as he was promised to do. Well, he can have us pull out of the stupid treaty. The European Union's Tuesday decision to join the Paris climate deal will push the deal over the threshold for ratification, but we haven't ratified it. It will formally take effect in 30 days. That means Trump should be elected president in November, could not cancel or renegotiate the terms of the agreement. Oh, we're going into global government. This is the carbon tax. And they claim that we can't get out of it. Congress hasn't ratified the stinking thing, but Obama says he's signing. That's the Hill buffaloing everyone, lying. I'll talk about that with Dr. Jerome Corsi coming up. Everything's moving. This is the planets conjuncting politically, culturally. But even in the stars, they've been doing it at levels never seen but every few thousand years. I mean, it's all happening. But the stars aren't aligning for evil. The stars are neutral. And I don't mean that in a form of actually going into astrology. I mean politically. We must govern the affairs for ourselves. We must take this liquid period, this flux period, and change it with the greatest weapons alchemy has ever seen, truth and justice and liberty and the spirit of human development and free will. The dynamic human spirit created in the forges of God's furnace that refuses to submit. Yes, it's time to go to war in the lands of fire. You know, we don't hype things up. We've got so much hardcore news, like the exclusive we had yesterday with Obama, talking about how bad white people are in Kenya in the 1990s. We've got so much going on that we don't need to hype stuff. When I tell you that Dr. Corsi's got articles at WND.com that are so key, that we've got articles exposing women being enslaved, mass murdered by the people Hillary put in charge, we have the footage. And this needs to get out to everybody so that folks can make a decision about who they're really going to support. Because you can say what you want about the Republicans. They haven't been perfect. But under Hillary and Obama, they've done stuff that's so crazy, I can't even believe it. See Hillary's Libyan jihad atrocities. To understand how they'll go out of their way to go after Christians, you name it. Now, before I go any further, Leanne McAdoo's here. We have a new Hillary Don't Tread on Me shirt that's limited edition that, just like the Hillary for Prison shirt, is only going to be sold for the next 33 days. Now, we've been selling the Hillary for Prison shirt for over a year. Over 100,000 of those have been sold. That helps fund the operation, but most of them we sold at cost, so it didn't really help fund the operation. This is a Made in America shirt. It's the Liberty snake, the Gadsden snake, curled up around Hillary, saying, "Don't tread on me," Infowars.com on the right shoulder. Let's show folks the back and what the back of the shirt shows. Hillary 2016, lock her up.
Lock her up.
Infowars.com. Now, I'm going to explain something. Only 3,000 of these were printed. We're going to start coming out with a lot of limited editions where there's only 2,000 or 3,000 of them. This is a limited edition. We have in all sizes right now. It's really soft fabric. Leanne, what do you think of the shirt?
It's really great. It's very comfortable, very soft fabric, made in America. And ladies, we heard you. This is made for women. It's already got the good shape, so it, fits properly on the chest area. It's not made for men, but it's super soft, really nice fabric, made in America. Don't tread on me.
And it's great for men, too. It's unisex, but you're right. Yeah. We've gone with this, not just cotton, it's this mix. It's really comfortable. Well, it really feels great. It's made in America.
It comes for both men and women, and that's key. A lot of guys don't realize,
But the men get the soft fabric,
women are shaped a little bit differently than men, so,
And we got the Molan Lambe gold foil version for women as well. That, too, made in America. Infowarsstore.com, Infowarslife.com. We have the new Biome Defense Probiotic is in. And we've got 23% off on DNA Force with the Bio CoQ10, the Bio PQQ, you name it. That is an amazing nutraceutical grade product for about, I don't know, probably 300% lower than what it's sold at medical offices, very similar formulas. We're going out and getting the Rolls-Royce stuff that medical clinics sell, because people will only, again, pay for something that's that quality. It's a medical clinic. We're cutting out all the, 400, 500% profit and only, putting 100% markup on it and dominating the market with DNA Force that third-party sites say is incredible, backed by 175 clinical studies, nerve growth factor, Energize, and more. Just the Bio PQQ comes from Mitsubishi America. Nobody else, ladies and gentlemen, has got it. They've got synthetic bio PQQs. Our CoQ10, again, is not synthetic, and it goes on and on. DNA Force from InfoWarsLife.com, InfoWarsStore.com is the umbrella site. But Leanne, again, the new Don't Tread on Me shirt, there are, I think they said 2,500 of these or something. It's 2,000, 3,000, whatever.
Limited run.
This is a
real.
limited run. We're going to have lots of limited edition shirts. This is it. And your purchase supports the broadcast. Though I got to tell you, that's why Trump says, hey, make better deals so I can make clothes in America. I mean, I can buy this same shirt, you know, in Honduras for $3. For here, it's like $10 a piece. And I sell it for $22. But again, just to get it made in America, this quality fabric, these shirts cost us just the shirt $10 a piece. The printing's like $2. So this is a high quality shirt that should be like $30, $40 at a designer store. Hillary 2016, lock her up on the back. Don't tread on me on the front, limited edition. Leanne McAdoo, any other comments?
Well, I think this is great because we were actually just talking back in the room about dating during this political time. It's, you know, very divisive. And, you know, do you want to bring up politics on your dates? I think it's super important to find out who the person you're going to date is voting for. And, you know, you could have the pick of the litter at the SJW party, but, you know, it takes a rare woman to be able to say, yeah, I'm voting for Trump and I'm not afraid of it. So I think wearing a shirt like this just puts it out there that, hey, don't tread on me. I am clearly not with her. So wear it loud and proud, ladies.
It's meant to find the patriots. It's meant to find out who you don't want to associate with.
Exactly. So you could just zero in on them. Enough with the Tinder and all of that.
I heard you talking during the break just how shocking these videos are and the fact that Hillary put Wahhabists in, Al-Qaeda, ISIS in Libya, who murder women, sell them into sex slavery. I just can't see how women can support Hillary when she's like married to Uma Abedin, you know, reportedly basically stays in the same hotel room. They're fine. I'm a libertarian. I'm not judging you. But her mother writes the journal that calls for the sexual mutilation of women and is the leading proponent of sexual mutilation in the world. How the hell could any liberal woman vote for this crazy lady?
No, it's very shocking. And it's just so... How do they continually sweep this type of stuff under the rug with the sex slavery, with the rapes, with the killing of gay people? You know, these are
throwing them off roofs.
That if it was anyone else, that they would take that person down with that type of history. But if you're a Clinton, it's fine. You get a pass. I mean, this is insane. Genital mutilation supporter, Huma Abedin's mother. Huma was there at the Journal at the time this is going on.
She's a leading one. She defends it now. We're showing articles on Infowars.com, on the free stream, Infowars.com/show right now. Leanne, thank you so much. Great job last night covering the debate. Did the Governor Pence not clean the floor with Creepy Kane?
Oh, my goodness. I really like Mike Pence now that I had the opportunity to just really sit down.
That's why Trump went with him. He's really smart.
And the Clinton campaign is so upset that he didn't take the bait. And they're saying, well, he couldn't defend all of Trump's statements that he made. It's like, no, he didn't take your canned bait.
Trump could learn a lot. I'm not saying I know more than Trump, but I'm saying Pence is a master. He's also been meeting with our good friend Farage that's coming back on soon. Najib Faraz of UKIP, the leader, former leader. He's been advising him. Very exciting. Leanne, you'll be on the Nightly News tonight, 7 o'clock Central, Infowars.com/show. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Dr. Corsi, we've got about 40 minutes left. Again, I'm going to try to give you the floor, but you've got me so excited. I've been backing up the different things you've been breaking down. We were getting into money laundering, the Clinton Foundation, how crazy this is, even the internal emails from State Department with Chelsea upset about them stealing 94% of the money from the Haitian leaders, the president of their Senate coming out saying they robbed them. All this stuff happening, 33 days left, this Kane thing blew up in their face. You've got the floor. What should we be watching? What should we be looking at that you're covering at WND.com?
Well, let's talk about the money laundering a bit in the Clinton Foundation. Donald Trump is being hit because he used a tax avoidance part of the code, a loss carry forward, not to pay taxes in subsequent years, which is completely legal. Now, the Clinton Foundation, I've got the documentation on this. I'm preparing for publication tomorrow and probably next week. The information I've just gotten from Germany, which outlines for me some of the never-before-seen back channels through which the Clinton Foundation has been money laundering with Russia. A lot of this money has gone to Podesta. A lot of money is off the books of the Clinton Foundation. I mean, here, let's question how much of the offshore money laundering the Clinton Foundation does is reported for tax purposes. I doubt any of it is reported for tax purposes. But the point is, there's Rosatom, which is the Russian energy agency that bought into 20% of the U.S. uranium production through this Frank Justra in Canada, who was a penny stock dealer from Vancouver, connected himself with the Clinton Foundation, is also picked up not only in the Panama Papers, but in the Swiss banking revelations in terms of offshore money hiding. And I've got now the record of how the accounts passed money through the Clintons off the books. And Clinton's using this pass-through corporation, this WJC as initials, William Jefferson Clinton, WJC LLC, and this WJC Investments as off-the-books pass-throughs, which is what money launderers use. The way a shell corporation pass-through works is the money goes into the account, and then within a few hours, it goes out of the account. So the account shows a zero balance. You don't know what the account has in it or where the money came from or necessarily where it went. This is the way it makes it hard to trace the money. And the Clinton foundations have been using this kind of secret pass-through. And again, if we really want to get into taxes, if the Clintons want to push the issue of Donald Trump using a legitimate tax avoidance, completely legal, I think this is illegal activity. Where even I've got evidence that Podesta, who was her campaign manager, did not report as he needed to various transactions that came to him from Russia through these various groups in Russia that wanted to do two things: control the uranium production in the United States and have Hillary Clinton, as part of this reset, transfer massive amounts of U.S. military intelligence and technology to Russia, which Hillary Clinton did.
I was about to say, I was told by a pretty high-level military source that, yeah, the Russians don't think Trump's out to get him, but they're not sure if they try to push him around. They're kind of scared of him. That the word is they kind of actually want Hillary because she's so blackmailed.
Well, Hillary's completely compromised. All the Russians have to do is reveal what the information I got through authoritative sources from Germany, identifying the Russian banks through which these transfers occur. The articles I'm going to publish are going to chart it out so you can see the chart of how the money passes from here to here and here and ends up in the Clinton Foundation.
Sure, you also brought up Comey. I mean, he does the tax returns for the Clintons.
Well, Comey, the law firm that Comey's been associated with, and also Loretta Lynch and Cheryl Mills, does the tax returns for the Clintons. Comey was at HSBC when the money laundering was going on. And, to get your mind around this, everyone, when you deal with massive amounts of terrorist money, which are financing terrorists, the Wahhabis out of Saudi Arabia, the Muslim Brotherhood of the Middle East, and we're passing money that the Muslim Brotherhood comes in and takes a receipt for in our consulate in Tripoli. We're paying the Muslim Brotherhood through the Obama administration, identified as terrorists in Egypt. When you see these massive amounts of money flows and also drugs in Mexico, $1 trillion worth of $100 bills doesn't do you any good. So the whole object is to get a compromised bank, a crooked bank, and HSBC paid $1.9 billion fines.
And that's why it's important, is HSBC, you're saying, was then working with the globalists in the sellout of America. Yes. We blow them sky high. We've cut off their money.
And I'm also saying that you don't launder money in this magnitude without the federal government knowing it, without the Treasury knowing it, without the FDIC.
Sure, so they have to have officers in charge for that executive level fraud to be able to pass it through.
And you've got the President of the United States using an alias to communicate with Hillary Clinton over her secret server. So you've got it entirely.
You've got collusion. You've got the racketeering.
And if it were investigated at the top level and get the records where you could prosecute people like Al Capone on their actual bank records that weren't being laundered through Panama and Switzerland and through shell corporations, which is what the Clintons have done with the Clinton Foundation.
Sure, classic. And you've exposed that. It's been exposed by others. It's confirmed. So let me ask you this question. How is it going for them? It seems like a lot of their systems are being rolled up globally. Our military and intelligence agencies more and more realize how much trouble we're in or exposing them. It seems like they're in full retreat, hoping to get her in and hoping then she can kind of set up some dictatorship to try to get out of all this.
Well, I think the Clintons have, thought from the beginning that they could fool the public one more time and weren't going to have the scrutiny that they're having. What's happening is we saw it in the Brexit vote. I think you're going to see it again in the presidential vote for Trump. And that is people are waking up and they're saying, this New World Order globalism means slavery for the average person. It means 90 million Americans who could work are useless.
And I agree. Hillary literally has like 50 people at her events now, over and over again every day. She's imploded. We sent hidden cameras into her campaign headquarters in New York and in Ohio and in Florida. They go, no one's supporting her. Everyone we know is for Trump. So obviously these polls are all fake when they say Trump's neck and neck or losing. CNN does stuff like samples 46% Democrats to 22% Republicans. I mean, this is ridiculous. So
also, yeah, what they do is they oversample, because you see they're using in many of these polls the turnout assumption numbers from 2012 or 2008. Well, Hillary Clinton's not going to get Barack Obama turnout. It's, political scientists.
That's my point. Everybody hates her. So she clearly is probably 10 points ahead. What are they going to do to block a Trump landslide is the question, Dr. Corsi.
Well, there's going to try. I mean, I think we've got to keep very close watching with this whole Russian. Russia made it very clear, saying directly to the Obama administration, keep hands off. And Russia will go to war if we do something like launch cruise missiles or to defend ISIS, or we try to shoot down a Russian plane. We do any of this type of aggressive activity, Russia will step it up. Now, if that's what Obama wants, the American people aren't there. And we need to expose in advance that if this is what the Clintons are down to. I mean, besides, Hillary is massively sick. I mean, the indications that she's having epileptic-like seizures and having, being propped up with medications and, medicated so she gets through an hour and a half long debate, coughing constantly, suppressing the cough.
And isn't her collapse emblematic of the old Bush/Clinton facade collapsing? I mean, we need to not let these people fail forward into a larger war. I think it's safe to say, Dr. Corsi, the world has never been in a more dangerous position.
Well, I don't think the American people are ready to go into another, Iraq war that was, trumped up and was basically, Trump opposed it. He did oppose it. And, this whole idea that Trump was for the war because of a comment he made
We have all the videos.
Yeah, and,
we have 6 videos of him opposing it in 2004, yes. 2 of them in 2013. I mean 2003.
What the Clintons are doing is they're playing a game of gotcha, and so are the journalists. They're trying to take out of context anything that have any issue that they can with Trump to make that, the 3 or 4 day news cycle.
Sure, exactly. I mean, distractions, as Trump says. Let me ask you this as a real expert. I mean, as a real expert, folks, we're talking to politically dealing with this. What about just reaching out to liberals and going, do you really want World War III? Do you really want insanity? I mean, come on, you're lying. You're just betting on this horse. For common decency, don't destroy us.
Well, and, this is where the final contradictions the liberals are in. If their only solution to having Hillary a losing candidate, a sick candidate, a lying candidate, one who nobody likes, even her supporters don't have any enthusiasm for her, the only alternative is to go to war. And this is what Obama and Hillary are supposedly against for their entire administration.
And by the way, we're not hyping that. We have the head of the army, we have the Joint Chiefs saying we've been asked to go to war with Russia, trying to cause a debate. We're at red level crazy town right now.
And the idea of going to war over Syria, the American people, after Iraq, after Afghanistan, after the complete disorder.
Oh, yeah, we can't beat the Afghans. Now let's fight the Russians.
I mean, this idea we're going to fight a perpetual war in the Middle East is not what the American people signed up for after 9/11. A limited campaign to get al-Qaeda, who was blamed for this. Okay, fine. Osama bin Laden down in Afghanistan. But now...
But now don't we have to stay in Iraq because ISIS is taking over?
Yeah, ISIS is actually taking over Iraq. And now you've got a massive...
I'm ready to invade right now to kick ISIS back to Saudi Arabia and take their amount. I want to come back and ask you, in a perfect world, what should Trump do if he gets elected? Because that's the big issue. They're going to counterstrike. Or what happens, God forbid, if Hillary gets in? We've only got 6 minutes left with him on the other side. WND.com is where you see the exclusive videos of stuff I can't even describe on air. They're there right now, WND.com. Stay with us. I'm Alex Jones. By the way, Dr. Jerome Corsi's with us for a few more minutes. I didn't even mention he has a new book out, a 3-time New York Times bestseller in political books. And now, Good Night Obama, Good Night Moon's one of my kids' favorite books. They were little. And it deals with his incredible corruption. Maybe liberals at their so-called intellectual level can understand this. The New York Times #1 best-selling author Jerome Corsi, Good Night Obama, and it's a hilarious book, also pretty scary. but maybe this is something Americans that don't read books anymore or think that books existing are a conspiracy theory, maybe this is something they'll actually read. Let's talk about the book, and then I want to ask you about election fraud. First, they said it didn't exist when I brought it up and Trump brought it up. When I asked Trump to bring it up, he did 2 days later. And then they said, but we're coming in to federalize the elections. Let's talk about that. But first, Good Night, Obama, the new book by Dr. Corsi.
And it's written really as a parody. And thank you, Alex. It points out the various things that Obama's done that will disturb conservatives like myself, increasing taxes, all the way through the endorsing the Muslim Brotherhood. You'll see the Muslim moon on the cover. It's basically a parody. Good Night, Obama, and Good Riddance. And I've got on YouTube and on my Twitter, you'll see the. I actually read this as a children's goodnight book, but the drawings are meant to add some humor to it. But underlying message here is look at all the things that Obama has done in this fundamental transformation of America that has sided with radical Islam, destabilized the Middle East, doubled our national debt. I mean, it goes on to saying good night, Obama. And that's hopefully we're done with this brand of anti-American socialism, and hopefully people begin to really wake up and not be so completely, especially the millennials, to understand that they're considered by Hillary Clinton to be the basement dwellers.
And by the way, I got the book a few days ago, and Nico wouldn't let me take it, so we did it for the show, but I was going to take it home. I'm not just saying this. This book is perfect for trendies, perfect for liberals, because it really illustrates what a giant fraud all this is, but it's also great for kids, but it's great for adults. A real stroke of genius.
Well, thank you. I think it's going to be a good Christmas gift. I think as we actually get closer to realizing that Obama's gone, there's his crocodile tears for guns, which he does all the time, and the Internal Revenue Service going after the GOP, tearing down the wall. Yes, right. Of course, the wall Obama wants to tear down is the border. Letting in, here's the Constitution and disregard for it and executive orders. The book shows here he's coming off Air Force One with his disrespectful attitude towards the military.
The only problem is there should be a coffee cup in his hand, yeah.
Yeah, really. And, go ahead, Iran, you could have nuclear weapons. And, the dream of hope and change turns into the typical socialist nightmare of, dead imprisonment. But, of course, you can go on to the talk shows and make laugh about it all. And, here's clinging to the guns in the Bible. And, of course, Obama does not understand traditional American values, or here's the birth certificate. There's the guy who forged the birth certificate.
Or that all these wars were fought over the Second Amendment. He just didn't get it.
And, the fact that we've, under the Obama administration, been in a perpetual war in the Middle East and destabilizing the Middle East. We've been here, the movie that was blamed for Benghazi, when Hillary can't even remember that 4 Americans were killed at Benghazi. She said, who was killed there? I mean, Hillary's, mental brain damage, I think, is, and she refuses to submit to neurological examination. People climbing into the White House, which has been climbing over the fence and under the fence. I mean, the Obama administration and LGBT, and of course, like you, Alex, I'm a libertarian, but the point is, they're force-feeding kids this garbage, and they shouldn't be doing it. You said you could do 5 more. I want to come back. Then we talked about the book, Good Night, Obama, which I want to cover and carry in our bookstore, InfoWarsStore.com. So please hook me up with your publisher that's post-Hill. But an absolute stocking stuffer. We're going to come back in 70 seconds with 5 more minutes. Election fraud. What will Hillary do if she gets in versus what will Trump face if he does get in, because the battle just begins, as Michael Savage said here a few weeks ago. We'll be back. 3rd hour straight ahead, then Paul Watson. All right, we got 5 minutes left with Dr. Jerome Corsi at WD.com. His new book, Good Night, Obama, is powerful, especially when you read the book to your kids 1,000 times, literally. I had 3 kids, and then it's turned into a satire. It's powerful. Because you think of all the crimes they've committed and what they've done, and you kind of review it in a children's book in like 30 pages, and it's like, wow, these people really are going out of their way. They really do hate America. It's like they run it, they captured it. It's like if I had some enemy that owned a hotel, and then I got the hotel via a bank deal or whatever, or default, I wouldn't then blow the hotel up to piss on who had it before. It's like, it's real chicken you-know-what behavior. It's real trashy, real weird, unsophisticated. Then I ask, how are we conquered by these folks? So they're talking about election fraud. They got to have the feds come in, the UN come in.
The EU come in and monitor it, but Trump's crazy there's election fraud. Talk about that for 1 minute, and then what happens if Hillary gets in? What happens if Trump gets in? Dr. Jerome Corsi.
Well, the election fraud is a real problem. I mean, we're finding reports almost every day of illegal immigrants who are registered to vote. Of course, this has been a major strategy.
Dead people.
Yeah, and you know, dead people voting, and now we're going to have the UN come in and monitor our elections. We don't need any international authorities to monitor our elections. What we need is an honest election boards, and we need to pass laws where people, you know, you can't put your kid in school without, you know, proving who you are and where you live. Well, why can't we have voting registration that's dependent upon IDs? You know, this whole Democratic Party idea that the only way they can win is by cheating and stealing. You know, Trump is going to have to win by a substantial margin. He's going to have to win by an 8 to 10 point margin.
I agree. We got to have a landslide for a win. But hypothetically, if she gets in, what happens? She admits she's going after the alt media. That's you and I. What else happens?
Well, if Hillary gets in, you can forget about the First Amendment, because anybody who opposes this totalitarian leftist agenda will be accused of hate speech. You can forget about the Second Amendment. She'll do away with the Second Amendment. She's made that clear. You know, the expansion of the federal government, the powers, more debt, more government programs, more dependency on government, and inevitably more wars, because the only way that the Hillary Clinton can sustain what she wants to do in her power grab will be by going to war.
That's right. She doesn't want to just piss on America, but Russia and everybody else.
Absolutely. She'll go to war and, you know, solve and get paid more by the multinational corporations will provide the war materiel. This is, you know, the strategy of scaring people into another
I don't
war.
get these hyper-dominant psychos that just won't work with people. Why do these crazy liberals have to control the language, what everybody does, other governments? They seem like megalomaniacs, Dr. Corsi.
Well, they're totally opposed to what our, you know, the fundamental principle of our founding fathers, which had confidence that the average person would be best to rule themselves, and that we should have dissent, because argument is the best way of reaching truth. The left doesn't believe in any of this. The left has an agenda, and that agenda is very much like a Marxist agenda. What, you know, is unfortunate is so many of the millennials, the kids in schools, don't realize that they're the useful idiots to believe this nonsense.
I agree, but a lot of them are going against Hillary. That's exciting. In 1 minute left.
It is, and they shouldn't be conditioned to expect free, because it's not free. And the point is, you know, that the enslavement that comes from believing this leftist agenda turns immediately on those who will put them in power. This is about elitism. This is about elite banking, you know, warfare mentality, where the Clintons and their associates, the Soroses, just get enormously rich. And everybody,
I agree. It's a referendum on the Bushes, the Clintons, elitism, crony capitalism, and the future Trump. It couldn't be clearer.
And no more Bushes, no more Clintons, no more elites, no more establishment.
Back to America, where it's what you produce and what you do.
Back to the fundamental principles of our country, which is First Amendment, Second Amendment, all the other
that Alexander de Tocqueville wrote about.
Precisely. And the realization that, you know, if Hillary Clinton wasn't on the lying agenda, we wouldn't see tactics like are being rolled out with Kane interrupting constantly.
I agree. Please come back soon. WND.com. Get the new book, Goodbye to Obama. Great job, Dr. Corsi. Thank you so much. You're a godsend.
My great pleasure. Thank you.
And that's Alex Jones introducing me, because who can get a voiceover guy to do it every day for you? And we do the countdown. Day number 33. By the way, Ryan just ran up to me, one of our great graphics people, the head graphics guy, and he said, hey, these are in the store now. Hillary for President 2016. And I went, in the store? And I went, oh, we've never sold them. We were putting 3 or 4 in every order free, and people are seeing them all over the country. And I thought, a couple of weeks ago, I said, I want you to order an incredible amount of these. I think I said like 1 million or something. They went, boss, you really want 1 million of these? But I don't know what they actually ordered, because I just talked to him for like 10 seconds during the break. But we've got Hillary for President bumper stickers, 10 packs at cost. There's no reviews of it yet, obviously, because it just started going on sale. That's $4.95. Now, I can tell you, these bumper stickers cost us like 20 cents a piece. They're glossy, high quality, made of good petrochemicals, so they last a long time. So they'll be part of the resistance in the future if she actually steals it and gets in. But let me tell you, we're not making any money on that at that cost. But it doesn't matter if we were. We need the funding. I think we make a few bucks, maybe. The point is, get your Hillary for President stickers today, 10 packs, But my idea a few weeks ago, I don't know if they actually followed it. They're great folks, but I kind of shout orders here and there as I'm running down the hall, was to have like 100 packs, 1,000 packs at cost, not just 10 packs. 10 packs for folks who just want to do their own vehicles and give out to employees or whatever. We do. Oh, they did follow it. Okay, good. I forget all the stuff I've launched. Hillary for President bumper stickers, 50 pack, $14.95. Oh, imagine the havoc you can have with that. I know what I'm going to be doing at about 6 a.m. tomorrow. I'm going to get up about 5 a.m., take a shower, where the kids have gotten up, like Santa Claus. I'm going to slip out the door and stick a few of these up in a few places and slip back at about 5:45, 6 a.m. when they wake up and cook them breakfast. All the while, Daddy's been out there working for his babies against the tyrant. The secret to having unlimited energy, the secret to... The other day, I'd already been up for 20-something hours, hadn't slept but like 2 hours. They said, how are you bouncing off the walls yesterday, shooting all these videos and having meetings? And I said, it's 34 days, baby. 33 now. This is the fight against tyrants. Humans are meant to dare greatly and fight and strive and build. If you're an artist or a writer, or like Beethoven, you're meant to pour your soul out. It's the same thing in a fight against globalists. I'm on cloud 9, baby. They roll in, grab me, line me up in the street, put a gun to the back of my head. I don't want to die. I don't want to leave this planet. I love life. But you know what? I'm going to be thinking, man, I really must have hurt them bad. Woo! I'm joining the legends right now. Yeah! They call me crazy. You people are crazy. Following some scumbag like Tim Kaine. Looks like a child molester. I will never be with you. And people ask why I get tears in my eyes. It's the joy. It's the joy. I called in yesterday and said, you sent me a free bottle of DNA Force when I called in. Thank you. And his voice sounded so sweet. I got tears in my eyes. Just to bring somebody happiness. And people say, oh, you're just a dumbass. All these people think they get ahead because they don't care about anybody. You're not even human. You think you're beating us because you don't have any feelings? That's the funniest thing I ever heard. You're like cancer, and you look at the body that gave birth to you and loved you, your mother, your father, God, this planet, and you piss all over it like you can run around doing horrible things like you got some secret technology. As if those of us don't know how to do all the bad stuff, dumbass. I'm 10 times worse than you. But my good side's 1,000 times better than that. I didn't know they could stack shit so high, but that's what you are. Delay that. I gotta just be honest with these people. Thank God we're not with you. When I got a little endorphin rush, remembering I launched this, I think it's 1 million we printed. They probably did follow my order. 1 million bumper stickers are printed right now. I just remembered that. 1 million Hillary for President. Everyone must go to InfoWarsStore.com and buy these. I ordered them to do it at cost. They probably actuary in taxes and regulations and the building costs and everything. Because I was thinking there's a little bit of profit in the numbers I saw. I don't think there actually is. These are at cost at InfoWarsStore.com. You don't want Hillary? If you're in a battleground state, there's 11 of them, like Florida and Ohio and Pennsylvania and Colorado and all the other. I don't care where you're at. You hammer them and hammer them to hell. Post them in legal and lawful areas. Because when a foreign bank takes over and wants to murder you and your family and shut down the free press, God forbid, don't post these in public. God forbid the cops ought to pat you on the back and buy you a cup of coffee if they catch you sticking them all over power poles. Cops ought to be sticking these up. I mean, what are you going to do to save the country? We've been overrun by criminals. It's time to take action. And if Tim Kaine looks like a pot-bellied pedophile, then call him and say he looks like one. We're sure he's innocent and connected to it. He just wants to rape the Constitution, and we're here to stop him. Let me just stop for just a minute. Just going to stop for just a moment. Because the energy of good is rising. Let me tell you why it's rising. Evil is rising. And for every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. For everything the enemy hits us with, God's going to give us the voltage and the response and the energy and the discernment to beat the enemy. And so it's like as evil intensifies, it's like my discernment, my understanding, my energy, everything gets crazier. You want to talk about superheroes? This is the real world, folks, fighting tyranny. It's like, good God, can I handle much more of this? Anyways, yeah, I don't even know they have this ready. I told them to do it this morning. It's hilarious. I don't know how I'm not even bragging. We're fighting a bunch of zombies. I'm out horseback riding with the family this weekend, hunting. And I say, you know what? This horse looks like the horse Putin was on a few years ago. That's his most famous photo. It's kind of like this red-brown horse. And I said, we ought to do a joke where we take a photo of me with my shirt off when we got back to the camp. And I said, I'll tweet out the first one saying, I wonder why they say I work for Putin, knowing they wouldn't pick that up. I don't know how I know. It's like they want to say it first. But then I put out another one that looks even more like it. And then saying, oh, he doesn't know he looks like Putin. Look, he got trolled. When I knew it would just bring everybody back to the website. See, here's the deal. I don't mind being made fun of by you. That doesn't hurt me. I just want folks to come to the website and hear the truth. They think just being laughed at is so hurtful that, oh, look, all these headlines. Alex Jones puts out a picture of himself shirtless on a horse. The internet can't stop laughing. That's what I want, is the internet to not stop laughing and to come to this website and learn about what's really happening. We have the clip of the head of the army saying, get ready for World War II level war with Russia and all the rest of it. That's up on Infowars.com. We have the actual clips of that we're going to clip together and put up for a shorter clip on YouTube. It'll be added to the article. It was an hour-plus long speech he gave, so we didn't have that earlier. We had to clip it out. But that's coming up. But first, since I mentioned it, I want to play this Donald Trump piece where I think he should go to Haiti right now and raise the fact that the Clintons robbed them, give them $1 million, give them a bunch of food, organize some charities that actually give the money to Haitians, to meet with the leaders that have asked him to come there, to expose the fact the Clintons tried to bribe him. It's totally presidential. He can then fly onto the U.S. It's going to be hit a few days later by the hurricane, and it's a devastating victory. So the headline is, ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump to launch an emergency mission to Haiti? Question mark. It's up to us to lobby for him to make the right move. Here's that report.
Devastated in 2010 by one of the worst earthquakes in Caribbean history.
It took only a glance to see what the rains did to the largest camp in Port-au-Prince.
Estimates vary, but up to 200,000 people have lost their lives.
New details of a possible influence peddling in the aftermath of the 2010 earthquake in Haiti, which we all remember very well.
There were hundreds of homes were destroyed after the earthquake, and the people are still hungry. They have no food, no job, no homes. This is not right. The Clintons, Hillary Clinton, should be behind bars.
Now, Hurricane Matthew has slammed into Haiti at over 145 miles an hour, creating unbelievable devastation.
The whole world has given billions of dollars to the Clinton Foundation for the Haitians. Not even 2% of that money went back to Haiti.
Haitian leaders have already taken note of the fact that Donald Trump has been exposing the Clinton crimes in their nation.
So, Mr. Trump, we are asking you, begging you, the Haitian community will side with you if one day you ask Hillary Clinton publicly to disclose the audit of all the money they have stolen from Haiti in 2010 after the earthquake.
They're calling for you, Donald J. Trump. They're begging you to come to their island nation.
We need somebody like Donald Trump in the White House to make America great, so other countries around the world will respect America again.
Mr. Trump, you've been on the cutting edge of exposing the Clinton Foundation and how they robbed Haiti. Out of all their crimes, Haiti is clearly the worst. Tens of millions of dollars raised, and less than 10% actually delivered to the starving people of Haiti. More than 10,000 Haitian children then died because the United Nations effort, led by the Clintons, gave them poison-fetid water. Even the State Department's own data dump has letters from Chelsea Clinton, the Clintons' daughter, saying, please, you've got to do a better job. Children are dying from cholera. We've seen something in Hillary Clinton beyond hubris. We've seen an almost mechanical disconnect. A little over a month ago, when she refused to go to flooded Louisiana and Mississippi, Donald Trump went there and was on the spot and delivered food and aid to the people and talked to local leaders. As I speak, Haiti faces an even bigger threat than the devastating 2010 earthquake. Hurricane Matthew, at over 145 miles an hour, has smashed into the island and is sitting over it, wreaking mass flooding, landslides, and huge amounts of death. The Clintons publicly led an international movement that in total stole close to $2 billion of aid money that was meant to go to Haiti. And now 6 years later, they've almost rebuilt nothing. And Hurricane Matthew shows the horrific cost of what the Clinton Foundation has done, parasitically bleeding this Caribbean island. In 2010, the president of the Haitian Senate, Bernard Sansaric, was there when the Clintons reportedly tried to bribe him to cover up the fact that they were stealing billions of dollars in donations. In the words of the former Haitian Senate president, the Clintons exploited Haiti's earthquake to steal billions of dollars from the sick and starving.
The American embassy called me, as it was often the case, and they said, President Clinton has a messenger for you. I said, send him over. He came, did not give me his name, but told me, Mr. Sansaric, you join our movement. You side with Bill Clinton in this invasion and will make you the richest man in Haiti. I said, sir, tell President Clinton for me Bernard Sansaric is not for sale. I have principle and I love my country. A week later, by executive order, Clinton revoked my visa. I was then a resident of the United States. I am now a citizen of the United States.
And, you know, when she raises this money, every time she raises money, she's making deals. They're saying, could I be the ambassador to this? Could I do that? Make sure my business is taken care of. I mean, give me a break. All of the money she's raising, that's blood money.
I'll be honest with viewers, Donald Trump has always been one step ahead of me and my listeners. That's why he needs to be our president. But I'm just here to give the moral support to make sure that Donald does what he knows is best, and some of his advisors don't block this idea, because it's the right thing to do to help Haiti. The Clintons have already robbed them of billions of dollars of donations, and it shows that America really does care, and it shows how presidential Donald Trump is to fly in, not days after the hurricane, but right behind it as it blows out tomorrow. Come in, land. Give them a donation. Give them food. Rally good aid organizations that have good ratings online for giving almost all the donations to the Haitians, and support a true rebuilding in that country. And announce that your organization, the Trump Organization, is going to investigate building a hotel or tourist attraction in the nation. Show people what you've done in the business world. Show people true business investment in Haiti and a true helping hand in the midst of their crisis. Then Hillary will counter, saying you should be in the U.S., not in Haiti. Once you've shown a spotlight on what's happening on Haiti and gotten the people of the world to pour out billions of dollars that I predict will come in the next week with your leadership, you will then be able to move on to the United States and help with the damage that's taken place from the hurricane that hits the East Coast. In my view, and from my gut, this is the right thing to do, because Haiti has been absolutely used and abused by the Clintons. It's an international scandal. It's something that will really wake up the voters to how cold-blooded this Clinton crime family is, and it'll bring real aid to the Haitians. And you'll be able to expose the crimes they've committed while making right what's happened to the Haitian people. This is such a no-brainer, and I guarantee you, folks, Donald Trump was thinking about it before we were. But we've got to make sure via Twitter and via Facebook and other platforms that he knows this is the right move to make. You know he's going to be on the East Coast when it's hit by the hurricane while Obama's playing golf and Hillary's taking a nap. But he needs to go to Haiti because they've been so screwed over by the woman he's running against, Hillary Rodham Clinton. In closing, some of the best special forces in the world are SAS in Britain. And their maxim is, fortune favors the bold. Well, our fortune is building a great economy, turning loose the engine of liberty, and empowering humanity, something we know Donald J. Trump believes in deeply. There's another maxim, and that comes from our own army, and that is in Latin, liberate the oppressed from the Green Berets. Donald Trump and the Liberty Movement is all about liberating the oppressed. And if the people of Haiti aren't oppressed, nobody is. They are oppressed by the Clintons and limousine liberals, and Donald Trump needs to come and begin the process of freeing the Haitians and rebuilding Haiti. America, led by the Clintons, screwed over the Haitians. It's time for Donald Trump to reverse that. I'm Alex Jones, signing off for Infowars.com. If you're watching this transmission, you are the resistance. All right, I saw that report last night. It's on Infowars.com, red link. Please send it to Twitter, to Donald Trump, Facebook, the media. He's already made some great moves, going to Mexico, going to Louisiana. There's no hurricane there now. He's got to get down there, give him a donation, give him some food, bring some charity leaders with him that can meet him, organize folks to, hey, give money not to the Clintons, but directly to these groups. You know, this group gives 90%, this group gives 89%, you know, but charity's keeping like 10%. That's what it takes to run stuff on average. So if something's given 89, 90%, you know it's good. Water treatment, schooling, food, you name it, medicine. And again, I've had family that's gone to Haiti, gone to South America, you name it, to help folks. Rand Paul, to his credit's been to Haiti a bunch doing it. Gary Haven's taken him some of the times. And it's just a good thing to go help people. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. It's not like, oh, it's special, I went and helped somebody. That's what humans do. I mean, if I'm in trouble, I want help. We came home one time from a Christmas trip out west camping and from New Mexico, and the pipes had burst in the ceiling and actually caved in. There was even, I don't know how it did. It was like even a hole in the roof. It was like in my bedroom. It was like open to the sky because I guess workers had torn in to cut the water off. And, you know, we didn't stay at our neighbors for a couple of days. I mean, that's what this is all about. We could stay at a hotel, but the next door neighbor said, hey, we got an extra bedroom or two. You know, stay right here. Bottom line, history is happening right now. And all of us need to do everything we can the next 33 days or 32 and a half days now to expose the globalists. I'm going to cut videos that chronicle the Clintons' crimes. It's up to you to get those out to everybody. I'm going to cut videos exposing the Islamic attacks on women. We're going to expose what happened in Haiti. We're going to obviously interview some people abused by Clinton personally here in studio next week. I'm going to leave it at that. We're just pulling all the stops right now because history is happening. This election counts. It's not where you got two-stage presidents or two-stage candidates. It's happening. Now, since I mentioned this last hour, this was an hour-long plus video in Army Times. We wrote about it. U.S. Army chief threatens war with Russia. We will beat you harder than you've ever been beaten before, he tells the Russians. Then he goes into Iran, who our own government's actually arming, not Russia. And then he goes on to say this could be nothing like we've experienced since World War II. And you tie this into the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Dumford, 2 weeks ago, or almost 2 weeks ago, saying we're getting ready for World War III with Russia. This is what they've been told to get ready for. And you got weirdos in Congress, Democrats and Republicans going, can't you just shoot down those Russian airplanes with cruise missiles, not have our guys hurt? Now imagine they're thinking, now these congressmen, listen carefully, are dumb. They're idiots. They're fools. They're jokes. They're morons. They probably think they're real smart. But remember the congressman who's still the congressman in Georgia, in Atlanta? He thinks that Guam, our main military base in the Pacific, one of the main ones for B-52s, you name it, he thinks that it's floating, that islands float, that rocks float, like Hawaii's floating, not mountains that stick up out of the water from tectonic plate action. He doesn't know any of that. He doesn't know how fun it is to know all that. He thinks it's floating islands. He was asked, he goes, he believes they're islands because you can see them above the water. The guy has probably a 70 IQ. He's mentally retarded in my view. I'm sad for him. But it's only one step beyond that to have Republican and Democratic congressmen that I have on tape. It's like an hour-long briefing with the chairman where they're going, can't you, listen, we don't have to have war. We just shoot cruise missiles in. They shoot down the Russian planes, and the generals keep going, but then the Russians respond. See, they think as you send a cruise missile that's not human, when it kills humans, the Russians don't respond. And the general, in the full hour-long exchange, keeps going to Democrats and Republicans. We ought to play the whole thing tomorrow, just over several hours. Keeps going, well, there'll be Russian pilots and they'll respond. They keep going, but we're going to fire cruise missiles so we don't lose people. And he goes, but they'll then respond. I mean, I knew more when I was 12 about military operations than these congressmen do. And I guess because genetically I was like a warrior ant or a leader ant, whatever you want to call it, I was attracted to it and reading every book I could on it about bombing runs in Europe. And I guess both grandfathers had genetically done that. So maybe it was like
ancestral memory that was so close it was passed on to me, but I was obsessed with aerial warfare and ships and bombs and weapons and detonators and atomic weapons and hydrogen weapons and fission fusion and particle beams and, you know, everything else. I wanted to know about intelligence agencies and secret societies and everything else. And you sit there, you think Congress knows. They're like, well, why can't we just blow up the Russians? They're like, but they'll respond. They don't even understand. The generals keep going, we'll go to war if you do that. That's how crazy. I'm going to play these clips. We have the new U.S. Army chief threatens war with Russia when we come up, and then we're going to go to Roger Stone. Stay with us. And it's time to reverse that journey to hell. Roger Stone's going to be popping in here in a moment. We're getting him on the line right now. But there is an hour-plus speech given yesterday by the head of the U.S. Army, Chief of Staff Mark Milley, and that dovetails with Dumford, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, saying, you're asking us to go to war with Russia. We will launch cruise missiles. They will shoot down Russian aircraft. They will attack. And Congress goes, but our pilots won't get hurt. And they go, yes, but then our aircraft carriers will. I mean, this is like the congressman from Georgia thinking islands float. I mean, I am horrified. I used to always hear by people, Alex, it's not a conspiracy. It's idiots in government. Well, it's idiots with a conspiracy. It's both. But this is an incredibly dangerous time. Here is the piece. We went and excised out the clips of the chief of staff. The article's up on Infowars.com. U.S. Army chief threatens war with Russia. Here it is.
I want to be clear to those who try to oppose the United States. I want to be clear to those who wish to do us harm. I want to be clear to those around the world who want to destroy our way of life,
you mean the
that of our allies and friends.
You'll blow the planet up? You're a lunatic?
The United States military, despite all our challenges, despite our op-tempo, despite everything we've been doing, will stop you and we will beat you harder than you've ever been beaten before. Make no mistake about that. Other countries, Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea, went to school on us. They closely watched how we fought in 91 and 03. They studied our doctrine, our tactics, our equipment, our organization, our training, and our leadership. And in turn, they revised their own doctrines, and they are rapidly modernizing the militaries today to avoid our strengths in hopes of defeating us at some point in the future. Recently, a senior Russian official, ambassador to the United Kingdom, Alexander Karamenko, he said, quote, the established world order is undergoing a foundational shakeup with the Crimea, Ukraine, and Brexit. He went on to call for the dismantling of NATO and the European Union. And he said, quote, Russia can now fight a conventional war in Europe and win. Russia is the only country that will remain relevant forever. Any other country is dispensable, and that includes the United States. We are endgame now, end quote. We can now, and we will remain in the future, retain the capability to rapidly deploy, and we will destroy any enemy, anywhere, anytime. Additionally, the battlefield will be highly complex, almost certainly in dense urban areas, and against an elusive, ambiguous enemy that combines terrorism and guerrilla warfare alongside conventional capabilities mixed with large civilian populations.
And again, we're facing the biggest threat since World War II is the other quote. General Mark Milley has been ordered to do this. The threat is the New World Order. The threat is George Soros. The threat are the people spending hundreds of millions to have cops killed. The threat are the people that have opened our borders, have sold our jobs overseas, and want to collapse Russia like they've collapsed us. But he's been ordered to do this. He's been ordered to put this out. And what Russia has said, if you read the full quote, is they're in the end game because they know they're under attack. They're having drills. They're preparing for nuclear war. The average American is running around trying to get transgendered bathrooms put in. But he's been, Milley was ordered to do that, just like the chairman was ordered to do it 2 weeks ago, because that could be their October surprise is war with Russia. And then that makes sense. Accusing Trump, Roger Stone, Alex Jones, everybody being a Russian agent. No, ridiculous. But you see, then you start a war. Oh, then we got to arrest our opposition. Those evil folks that are pro-gun, those evil folks that are anti-radical Islam, those folks that are pro-family, those people that want lower taxes, they're Russian agents. Meanwhile, a bunch of neocon Trotskyites that are literally former Russian agents or who run the Republican Party that is against Donald Trump. Let's play this clip from the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, just in case you just tuned in. You got Hillary saying if there's any cyber attacks they say are from Russia, launch a physical war against Russia. That's the hour we're in, folks. Here it is.
For Syria. What about the option of controlling the airspace so that barrel bombs cannot be dropped?
All the options.
What do you think of that option, sir?
Right now, Senator, for us to control all of the airspace in Syria would require us to go to war against Syria and Russia. That's a pretty fundamental decision that certainly I'm not going to make.
All right, let me explain what's happening here. Then I'm going to Roger Stone to cover other issues. He can comment on this if he wants to. Let's say Russia has an elephant gun, a 50 caliber rifle to our head. And General Dumford and General Miley have a 50 millimeter howitzer pointed at our head. Yes, the Russian head is going to be more blown off than ours, but our head's going to be blown off as well. The Russians can only destroy the planet, some estimates from Jane's Weapons Quarterly are 100 times. The U.S. 200, 300 times. And we all know there's a lot of secret weapons that have been developed. The Russians have too. But let's just be honest. The U.S. is got a lot of brains. Russia does too, but the U.S. is sickeningly providence prone. Okay? So this is crazy town. It's like saying, I've put 100 gallons of gasoline in your house. And we go, oh, yeah, Russia, we've put 500 gallons in your house. Well, I'll just light it. I'll light it too. Okay, flames will be higher in the Russian house than here. Our houses will be burned to the ground. And why? Russia isn't doing anything to us. And for that, I'm accused of being a Russian agent. Roger Stone, I've known him I met him like 6-7 years ago in Dallas at a JFK event. He's a best-selling author on the JFK assassination, but, you know, been in like inside 4 or 5 administrations, worked for, been involved in 9 different campaigns or 8 campaigns. Everything he's ever told me has been incredibly accurate, in fact, scarily so. But I had other sources, and I saw WikiLeaks out saying she'll be destroyed, she's going to be indicted, this will get her indicted just 2 weeks ago. He cancels this event, he goes out, he does this other Access TV-style deal from Germany, and then never releases anything. I got a little mad. But, Assange has done a great job overall, so I'll give him a pass. I apologize for being too angry in the middle of the night, being up 20 hours. But that said, they now say, and I have the clip coming up, let's cue that up, it's about a minute long after we talk to Stone, that they are going to release it, quote, the next few days. His lawyer said that on Al Jazeera. But that separately, we already have all these huge October surprises, the Benghazi stand down, all the corruption, the foundation, the emails. I mean, pretty much what would bring her down? The sky's the limit. But Roger sent me an email early in the morning, said, it was like 6 a.m., I'd already gone to bed for a few hours. He's like, well, I'll take the blame. I've never been given such disinfo before directly by my intermediary to him. But I said, you don't take the blame. You're a credible guy. I get stiffed by sources, too. We know what Hillary's really done. He's the one that advertised all this. You're more credible than ever. We're the men in the arena. So we come up short sometime. I noticed they had Right Wing Watch and Media Matters and the Huffington Post make fun of me. Oh, Alex said he's proud he did that show the other night and was chumped. Yeah, we had millions of viewers online alone, grew our audience hugely. We're in hundreds of newspapers yesterday, exposed the globalists, brought up the Clintons' crimes while millions tuned in. Our link was the top link on the internet for the WikiLeaks feed. Yes, I succeeded by showing up in that game and getting run over. That's what a player does, dumbasses. And all you people that aren't in the arena don't get that. Roger Stone, the man in the arena, you're on the air.
Alex, great to be back with you. It's not over till it's over. And if one looks at the AP story on what Assange says, he's going to release documents for the next 10 weeks, and they are going to specifically address war, immigration, Google and what's going on there, and the U.S. election. So I don't think anything has changed. In this case, justice delayed is not justice denied. No one ever suggested that Alex Jones or particularly Roger Stone controls Julian Assange. We just admire him. But he's going to inform the American people, evidently, on a time frame of his choosing. He's not for Donald Trump. He's not a Republican.
No, he's been very, very bipartisan. And look, again, I got angry. I've apologized. Overall, his work's so great. I just didn't like sitting there hearing him say, he said, she'll be indicted when I release this, and then it didn't get released. But I talked to some sources, correct me if I'm wrong, that say he was actually threatened that you'll never get a deal if you do this?
Well, not only that, he is. They have these trumped-up charges against him on sexual assault, which I'm convinced is a complete frame.
Yeah, they admit 2 women consensual, menage a trois. Then weeks later, they bitch, and one of them has been connected to the Central Intelligence Agency.
Right, and I know, Alex, you're personally jealous about the 2 girls. So it is it's laughable. It's a joke because it's a frame, and you can see that they want to lock this guy up so that he cannot expose the deep state. But nothing's really changed. I'm still highly confident that he is going to do what he has said he is going to do. Perhaps it won't happen in the time frame that I had been made aware of, but I still have confidence.
And let's be clear, though, now that I know the inside baseball, he didn't chump you or anybody. He was going to do it. Everything you said followed with their tracking. He got some incredible threats. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I have this from another source, from lawyers in New York. That's when he backed off. Now he's had Sarah Harris. I want to play this clip. Yesterday on Al Jazeera, this has gotten no coverage. It's on Infowars.com, said it will be in the next few days. Here it is.
A press conference, Sarah Harrison, we were told by Julian Assange that more leaks were coming, more damaging information was coming. He mentioned Hillary Clinton. What can we expect from that over the next few days?
Well, as Julian was explaining this morning, we will be starting some more publications that will be running with publications happening every few days. They'll be starting in a few days. And we have several of them with a number of interesting revelations that will be coming out to do with, yes, as you just pointed out,
what's interesting about them,
but also in another number of other topics. Well, I'm afraid on that one I'm going to annoy you, and you're going to have to wait.
That's Sarah Harris, the editor. There's also a lawyer on the same show saying similar things. So Stone, that's good news. We want to see, quote, the information that will indict her. If he has knowledge of a crime, he needs to release it.
Well, reading from the Associated Press, Assange says that WikiLeaks plans to start publishing new material starting this week, meaning next week. The significant material would address war, arms, oil, internet giant Google, the U.S. election, and mass surveillance. Yes, I think that this payload is coming, and the deep state is quaking in their boots. Now, you can't really blame Assange. He doesn't want to end up like Seth Rich, who took 3 in the back.
In fact, it's funny. It shows you may have the same sources. He was told, hey, Seth Rich got 3 or 4 bullets in the back. You better shut up.
Yeah, I mean, and he now knows that Hillary Clinton actually considered using a drone to take him out. They've had security problems there at the Ecuadorian embassy. The globalists want this guy dead and quickly because he can connect the dots, and I suspect they know he can connect the dots, and that is deeply problematic for the Bushes and the Clintons and others who have been profiteering off the system while they sell out their country.
And they thought the NSA would spy on us, and now spies on them. Shifting gears out of this, then, what do you make of all the war with Russia talk? Is that Hillary's October surprise?
Well, it could be. Look, I've said all along that the whole idea of her raising the question of Trump's coziness with Russia, a completely phony issue. Eric Trump today saying we have no investments or loans whatsoever in Russia, so that turns out to be an entire canard. No, I think the neocons around Hillary are committed to war. It is the policies of the Obama-Clinton administration that have moved us towards war. Trump is the peace candidate. Trump favors détente with the Russians. He understands.
So how do we reach out to liberals and say your party is a warmongering psycho group now?
It's really it is everything is kind of backwards. It's
upside
become
down.
Very, very Kafkaesque. You're looking down the rabbit hole. Now we are the ones who are soft on the Russians, which is nonsense, and the Democrats are the hardliners. I mean, it's everything here is bad.
Well, by soft on the Russians, we're not going to let them take over and push us around, but we are against nuclear war on the end of the planet.
Well, and I think so are they. And more importantly, we have a common enemy in ISIS who is a greater threat to both of us at the moment. It would probably be a good thing if we could get together and coordinate our efforts to destroy them. Then yesterday, just proving this whole this whole continuing drama, I learned with a certainty that Congressman Jerry Nadler from New York,
Jabba the Hutt's son,
spearheaded the effort to get the FBI director to investigate yours truly for my non-existent ties to the Russians and the supposition that the foreign agent Stone is talking to the foreign agent Assange. Well, I've never said that. He's not a foreign agent. I'm not a foreign agent. This is a witch hunt that Joe McCarthy would be proud of. But Nadler now admits the questions were fed to him by the money launderer David Brock, the incredibly short and nasty hitman for the Clintons, who, by the way, whose book, The Education of Hillary Rodham, is the foundation for my book. He confirms, actually he wrote it before I did, all of the criminal activities of Hillary Clinton in silencing Bill's sexual assault victims, a book he has never disavowed.
Why did he switch sides?
Cash. Cold cash. He's a mercenary, and he wasn't making enough money on the right. Meanwhile, you have the hijacking of the conservative media. We now know that Fox News, as you pointed out, Britt Hume at Fox News got busted yesterday using word for word, verbatim, Media Matters for America talking points. Newsmax, once a reliable conservative organ, has been hijacked by the Clintons. The owner of Newsmax, Chris Ruddy, is given $1.5 million to the Clinton Foundation. This is the guy who wrote the definitive best book on Vince.
Why did he do that? Because he knows the Clintons are going to have scorched earth and shut down all of their media? Is that why Beck is groveling? Is that why Beck is groveling? Is that why Beck is groveling? Because they know it's the end game?
No, in this particular case, there was an email released by Assange last week that shows that Ruddy appealed to the Clintons to get a visa for a young man who's a friend of his in Panama to come and stay in the United States. So it's pay for play is what it appears to be. But people need to know, Newsmax was once a conservative organ. It's now controlled by the Clintons. If that's where you're getting your news, folks, switch to Infowars.com, because Newsmax is no longer run by conservatives, just like Fox News is no longer run by conservatives. These are now Clinton House organs.
Oh, I mean, they'll have a show where it's the host and then a Republican Democrat, and the Republican Democrat guest will go, oh, it's ridiculous. Hillary only stumbled. She didn't fall down. We have the footage. I saw that on Bill Hemmer yesterday. I mean, they have reached that magnitude. Roger Stone's our guest. I want to ask him what's on his radar. I've been asking the questions. I want to find out what he's focused on straight ahead. Where is Trump really in the polls? What happened in the debate last night? Got a bunch of those clips as well. And then Paul Watson from His Britannic Majesty's London, England, in the 4th hour. Infowars.com. There's a new Hillary Don't Tread on Me shirt, limited edition. All right, we got this segment and one other, 5 minutes the next hour. Then Paul Watson is ready to come into the bullpen and onto the field. We are 33 days out. This is an epic time, to say the least, to be alive. I've been asking a lot of questions here, Roger Stone. What about the polls? What about the numbers? What about Hillary? What about the debate last night? I mean, wow. Did Governor Pence not absolutely annihilate creepy Kane? Kane is burning down, it seems like.
I think Mike Pence did a fantastic job last night, and I was very proud. You know, I've offered to step in as his body double at any time, but last night I'm glad I didn't, because he was terrific. Measured, balanced comment, and he was up against a rude, arrogant jerk. I mean, the likability factor in American politics is crucial. I mean, constantly being interrupted, just creepy. I mean, the guy, somebody on a radio show was on this morning, said he looked like a child molester. I mean, the guy was sweating, nasty. This is the guy who would be working Republicans in Congress as sitting vice president. And, of course, the juxtaposition of the Kane record in Virginia, a disaster, and Pence's record in Indiana, a model in terms of productivity and growth and economic prosperity, it is striking. So I would just remind some folks that it was Paul Manafort who strongly urged the selection of Mike Pence, who arranged for Trump to meet Pence, that others in the camp at that point, Lewandowski wanted Chris Christie. Think how that would have worked out. He's 2 steps away from impeachment now that we've determined in the federal courts that he lied entirely about the George Washington Bridge closing.
Sure. I mean, getting off Christie, I want to be clear because there was some crosstalk in my ear. I mean, I'm not saying Kane is a child molester, but he's called Creepy Kane. Trump says he looks like a, absolute kook criminal. I can pull up the actual tweet. But I heard you say something about child molester.
What I said was I did a radio show this morning, and a woman called in and said he looked like a child molester. I'm not saying...
You didn't know that in the first hour I said he looked like a child molester? Wow.
No, I did not. So it is obviously people did not react well to the whole way he came across.
Yeah, when people think you look like a child molester, you're not doing too good.
Yeah, I would say generally speaking.
And we're not saying he molests children. We're not saying that. Everybody knows Caddyshack is Judge Smells molests colleagues.
I tuned in to see Newt Gingrich, who I thought he was on the Trump team, but he's out there criticizing Trump. Trump should have done
Yeah, why does Trump put up with Gingrich? He's criticizing him every day. I mean, Gingrich is the biggest snot-nosed Rockefeller globalist I ever saw.
Ran Rockefeller's campaign in Georgia in '68. I remember specifically when Richard Nixon told me, he sniffed and said, that Newt Gingrich, don't trust him, he's no good.
He wrote a foreword to Alvin and Heidi Toppler's book calling for world government, microchipping of the population, and the Rockefellers running everything.
Yeah, Newt Gingrich, not a conservative, not a conservative. So, but remember, those were your choices for vice president. Christie, who some in the Trump inner circle wanted, the ticket would be imploding right now had we taken him. Gingrich, he would be out criticizing the presidential candidate today. No, Mike Pence was exactly the right man, and the Trump-Pence ticket is really the final last chance for this country to survive. I honestly believe this. Is Donald Trump perfect? No. Would he tell you he's perfect? No. But he's his own man. He's a nationalist. He believes in America.
Exactly. So what happens this Sunday? What happens with this big Royal Rumble with the known CIA operative Anderson Twinkle Toes Bite Your Pillow hosting it?
Well, I like Anderson Cooper. He's always been very nice to me. I just don't like his politics. Since the other night, Megyn Kelly attacked me, but they won't afford me the chance to come on. John King at CNN attacks me the other night when asked about with WikiLeaks and Stone's comments regarding Assange. He says, well, Stone probably believes in Area 51. Alex, I don't even know what Area 51 was. I had to go look it up. So,
well, that's what they always do. Loch Ness Monster. Let's talk about the Vanderbilt Cooper straight ahead. Back in 70 seconds, 4th hour, Infowars.com/show. We have the new Hillary shirt available. Hillary and the Gadsden flag. The Gadsden snake attacking Hillary for peace and loving liberalness. Infowarsstore.com. By the way, the Don't Tread on Me Hillary shirt, limited edition. We're just doing a 3,000 run, and that's it. Infowarsstore.com. The Bill Clinton rape shirt, limited edition. We're going to be ending at the in 33 days. The Hillary for Prison shirt. It's over. Somebody else will sell it if you want the original. Infowarsstore.com. And we have bulk from 10 to 100 bumper stickers at cost at Infowarsstore.com. Hillary for Prison, Infowars.com. We will rush deliver to you in the next few days. Order it, get them out, have an effect, especially in battleground states. I printed 1 million of these bumper stickers, so let's have some fun, Infowars. We got 4 minutes left. You wanted to talk about the debate. Roger Stone of StoneColdTruth.com. What do you expect to see in the second presidential debate between Donald J. Trump and Hillary the Joker Clinton?
Well, what's kind of interesting, of course, is that these debates are always greatly affected by the expectations. The expectations now for Hillary are very high. The expectations for Trump are suitably low, and I have no doubt that he will exceed them. He has got to counterpunch a little more aggressively. I don't care about him looking presidential. I just want him to look like Donald Trump. Just be Donald Trump. And I think he will do just fine. I also, if I were giving him advice on this matter, and I would never talk about what advice I've ever given him, but I would try to ignore the extraneous attacks. No one cares about Miss Venezuela, not when Hillary Clinton has empowered, people in the Middle East who are running around cutting women's genitals off and who are stoning women.
Exactly. Don't defend what she makes up. Bring up the fact that you're the one that supports cutting women's genitals off.
I mean, so I would counsel him to just go in there and make his points and kind of ignore the absurdities that she raises. She's going
Which is debate 101.
Yeah, lecture us on cybersecurity, lecture us on mandatory minimum sentences. Please give me a break. So I think he's going to be very good in the next next debate. I think he was good in the last debate. It's just that the mainstream media decided to reinterpret the debate in terms of what happened. And we've seen this before. One debate does not a campaign make. The mainstream media and the historians, virtually all liberals, try to tell you that John Kennedy put Nixon away in the first debate.
Now, isn't the second or third what counts?
There were 4 debates. Nixon won the last one. He closed fast. The momentum was with him in the final weeks, not with Kennedy. He was sitting still.
And then they stole Illinois and Texas from Kennedy.
They stole it from him. Nixon won that race by scoring in the 4th debate, but that's been airbrushed out of history.
But they admit he did steal Texas and Illinois.
Oh, there's no question. Kennedy had to steal it because Kennedy, the late momentum was with Nixon. Eisenhower did momentous rallies in New York, Philadelphia, and L.A. Nixon was on his game. He had hoarded his money till the end. He outspent Kennedy in the stretch, and he won that race by a hair, and they stole it from him. Why? Because he won the 4th debate. He also won 2 and 3.
And that brings me in closing, the steal. They admit they're federalizing. They admit they're federalizing the debate. What do we do about that? How do we fight that?
Yeah, look, the debate has been rigged from the beginning. You know my strong feeling that the Libertarian Green Party candidates should be in there, both as a matter of what is right, but also if you just want to make the hard-headed political calculation, Johnson plus Stein is net negative Hillary. Johnson plus Stein is net negative Hillary. Trump from the beginning should have insisted that they be in the debate or he wouldn't show up.
I agree, but what do we do about election fraud?
Well, again, I would urge people who are concerned about this to go to stopthesteal.org. We are about to unveil our exit poll program, which is entirely net-based. It's very sophisticated. We're doing our targeting right now.
I would call it science poll or mega poll or something like that.
Well, we can talk about that, but the concept, of course, is to get actual voters to tell us how they voted, not how they're going to vote, but how they voted on a very targeted precinct-by-precinct, machine-by-machine basis, so we can detect fraud by comparing the exit results with the actual.
All right, we'll talk tomorrow about this, Roger. A quickening happening. Thank you, Roger Stone, StoneColdTruth.com. We'll talk to you very soon. Get his Bill Clinton rape shirt at InfoWarsStore.com. Thank you. I'll come back and introduce Paul Watson. Stay with us. Thank you, Roger Stone. Huge time to be alive.
Great to be here.
This is Paul Joseph Watson, babyduckling.com. I don't know what that website actually has, but there he is, the baby duckling. For TV viewers, let's look over there. Our Royal Britannic Majesty. Camera 3, please. The Royal Duckling. Paul, I've got a few things to plug and then let you take over this hour. But I tell you, we've got the head of the Army. Let's get serious. This is gallows humor about baby ducklings. We've got the Chairman Joint Chiefs saying prepare for war with Russia, as big as World War II, nuclear war. What the hell's going on? I've studied history. I've been on air 20 years. I've never heard generals talk like this. What is going on, Paul?
Well, they're trying to re-energize this regime change operation in Syria. I guarantee if Hillary gets in within 6 months, she'll be going into Syria. And it's already proven so great, hasn't it? An international migrant crisis, thousands of people dead, ruined countries strewn across the Middle East. She's going to make that even worse. Now she's talking about going to war with Russia if there's so much of a hint that they hacked some emails. She actually came out and said that.
But if there's a nuclear war and a woman leads it, then it's cool, though, right?
Yeah, exactly. But
why are you sexist? I mean, if a woman wants to, men have had their wars. If a woman wants to blow the planet up, why not let her? I mean, come on, let's be fair.
Vagina. I mean, why would anyone question that? Yeah, so they're doing drills where 40 million people in Russia are practicing evacuation drills. They've just built underground shelters
because they're racist
for 12 million people. This is hyping up. You've got their top Ministry of Defense TV channel warning people that nuclear war is on the horizon. This is very real. You've got the U.S. Army chief coming out and saying, we're going to destroy our enemies. Then he goes on to talk about Russia. It's obviously aimed at Russia. This is what's going to happen if Hillary...
Yeah, but Senator Kaine said terrorism's dead.
No, exactly. But this is what's going to happen. You got that attack on the aid convoy a few weeks ago. That's come out. The independent investigators went in and looked. It was a complete hoax. Russia didn't bomb an aid convoy from the sky. The road's perfectly pristine. These aid trucks look like they've been burnt out. There's no evidence of an airstrike. That looks like it was a complete hoax. You've got every single media news channel hyping this war like they tried to hype it back in.
All right, obviously you're going to cover that. I just brought that up. I'm glad you're on top of that. What else is on your radar? I think Trump should go to Haiti and expose the Clinton Foundation crimes while helping the Haitians, and then fly onto the U.S. after the hurricane hits in a couple days. I think that's a no-brainer move. I've asked folks to send that video at Infowars.com off to Trump. What do you think?
Oh, I think that's an excellent idea. I mean, you get Haitians, and I've been to that island. They absolutely hate the Clintons. They come to America to protest against them. They're suffering with this extreme weather event right now. That would be excellent to help out those people, and obviously the optics and refocusing the entire narrative back on the Clinton Foundation. That would be an amazing idea, and of course it's not far for him to travel, actually. So, yeah.
No, he's 2 hours away. 2 hours off the coast. I want to get to a clip and then hear what you're about to cover and let you get to it, but there's so many clips. What about Clinton VP whips out the, quote, Mexican card, as if they actually care about Mexicans. They want to exploit their labor. They're calling this, what's the term you used, Matt? Hispandering. I mean, look, Mexicans know you can't just come to Mexico and get everything free or come across the border with no driver's license or no evidence. So let's play Clinton VP whips out his Mexican Hispanicking, or his, what do you call it, pandering? Hispandering. Let's go ahead and play the clip. Here it is. Pence versus Kane last night. Just love our crew talking about it.
Trump says women should be punished, or Mexicans are rapists and criminals, or John McCain's not a hero. He is showing you who he is.
Senator, you whipped out that Mexican thing again.
And you are showing
Look,
can you defend it?
There are criminal aliens in this country, Tim, who have come into this country illegally, who are perpetrating violence and taking American lives.
You want to use a big tar brush against Mexico?
He also said, and many of them are good people. You keep leaving that out of your quote. If you want me to go...
Back up. Exactly. The full thing is we need to vet people that are felons, people that are rapists, criminals that are running here. Mexico shouldn't take our criminals either. He said that in a speech. We need to stop the criminals coming over. He turns it into Mexicans are rapists. Imagine Donald Trump. You know Mexicans are all rapists. I mean, again, it's the deception of this little Grinch-like creature. Let's finish the clip.
Who are perpetrating violence and taking American lives. You want to use a big tar brush against Mexico? He also said, and many of them are good people. You keep leaving that out of your quote. And if you want me to go there, I'll go there. But there is a choice here, and it is a choice on life. I couldn't be more proud to be standing with Donald Trump, who's standing for the right to life. It's a principle that, Senator Kaine, and I'm very gentle about this because I really do respect you, it's a principle that you embrace. And I've appreciated the fact that you've supported the Hyde Amendment, which bans the use of taxpayer funding for abortion in the past, but that's not Hillary Clinton's view. People need to understand we can come together as a nation. We can create a culture of life. More and more young people today are embracing life because we know we're better for it. We can, like Mother Teresa said at that famous National Prayer Breakfast.
This is important.
Let's welcome the children into our world. There are so many families around the country who can't have children. If we could improve adoption so that families that can't have children can adopt more readily.
Why don't you trust women to make this choice?
All right, Paul, I'm going to get out of here. You're a busy guy. You came to do an hour broadcast. I'm going to leave you alone. But, I mean, Governor Pence absolutely dominated Creepy Kane. I mean, he mopped the floor with him. I hope that he's advising Trump because, and I know Farage is as well. You go ahead and take over. But am I wrong? Was this not a routing yesterday?
Well, it was a complete routing, and what he did well was dismiss an attack. That's what Trump needs to do. It's, well, you said this about a woman. You may have called a woman fat 20 years ago. So what? Americans don't care about that. That's not going to impact the future of America. Dismiss it, move on. Let's talk about Libya. Let's talk about the emails. Let's talk about Clinton Foundation.
Talk about you and Abedin in a hotel room together, and her mother once salivates over chopping women's genitals off. I mean, this is crazy.
Exactly. Don't get stuck down those rabbit holes of constantly having to defend yourself for mean comments you may or may not have made, because the American people don't care about that. That's not going to affect the future of America. On a wider basis, Tim Kaine is going to be your president if Hillary Clinton's health fails, which it inevitably will at some point. This is a man who refused to refer to himself as a man. He said he was Hillary Clinton's right-hand person. He was so afraid of being politically incorrect. He refused to call himself a man.
So he's a PC, or it's a PC high priest. Exactly. Do we want Creepy Kane as America's last president molesting the nation politically?
There was a good tweet, actually, which kind of summed it up for me. Mike Pence sounds like a wise uncle who tells you stories about life that have important lessons. Tim Kaine is the uncle that touches you. And Drudge got that photo up today of Tim Kaine. He literally looks like one of these creepy clowns that's been stalking Americans across the country. That's going to be your president at some point, chances are, given what's going on.
Well, don't discriminate against creepy clowns. We'll put the Drudge image up right now. Let's put it up on screen for TV viewers. Paul, I'm punching out. Go ahead.
So we're going to go to that clip. I believe we've got time here. Tim Kaine had to bow to the gods of political correctness that he couldn't even refer to himself as a man during the debate with Mike Pence last night. Let's go to that clip.
That is some dramatic buildup. Oh, we have the clip. Here's Mike Pence will not refer to himself as a man. Here it is. That is dramatic, ladies and gentlemen. Paul, did you send in these clips beforehand? Because they're usually pretty good with these clips. It's a good thing I'm here interrupting, isn't it?
No, I sent the clip. We can get to it later. It doesn't matter.
Oh, hey. All I want him to do is tell me, is the clip going to come? I think they're all gone. I think everybody behind me in that room has been teleported. They will not tell me.
No, I sent the clip.
They are panicking like they've just been attacked by Martians. But anyways, get back into the clip, Paul. Go ahead.
No, it was an important clip because this is supposedly the guy, if Hillary's health fails, which it will at some point, chances are, he's going to be the guy standing up to Vladimir Putin, standing up to China, standing up to Iran. He hasn't even got the balls to refer to himself as a man. He's so entwined in that politically correct thinking. He's going to be your president at some point. There's a good chance.
Yes, and third time's the charm. They do have it. They thought another clip. They have the clip. Describe this clip for us, Paul. Third time's the charm.
This is Pence versus Kaine last night. He refers to himself, Kaine, as Hillary's right-hand person. He's so politically erect.
My primary role is to be Hillary Clinton's right-hand person and strong supporter as she puts together the most historic administration possible. And I relish that role. I'm so proud of her.
He's her right-hand person. Why do men have to neuter themselves to fit with progressive orthodoxy? I mean, Tim Kaine is a man. Why is it embarrassing to say that? He didn't choose to be a man. He was born that way. That's the biological reality that the rest of us are busy denying, but it doesn't make it any less true. Why should he have to pretend otherwise? You're wondering why men aren't voting for Hillary, and boy, they're not? Maybe this is why. Right. If you're a man, admit you're a man. That's the message I get from Tucker Carlson.
So there you have it. Tim Kaine, unable to refer to himself as a man. He calls himself Hillary's right-hand person. Again, good chance he's going to be the next president. If not, he might run to be the president 4 years later. Is he going to have the balls to stand up to Vladimir Putin, to stand up to China, to stand up to Iran, given the fact that he can't even refer to himself as a right-hand man? He has to use the politically correct term, person. Absolutely amazing. But again, Mike Pence crushed it in the debate. The problem is that almost 50% of the US public don't know who Kaine or Pence are, so it might not have a massive effect on the polls, but it's a good role model for Donald Trump going forward into this huge debate on Sunday, where I believe he has to score a significant victory over Hillary Clinton, and Mike Pence has given him the example on how to do it. Continuing, we've got another terror attack in Europe. This is out of Breitbart, again in Belgium, the land of cultural enrichment. 2 police officers were attacked and stabbed in a suspected terror attack in the Brussels suburb of Schaerbeek at lunchtime Wednesday, as one of the city's main rail stations was closed by a bomb threat. We also had another incident a few days ago. But the 2 events took place near simultaneously in the Belgian capital this afternoon. The Brussels Nord station was evacuated by police and army troops with armored personnel carriers stationed outside as the bomb squad searched the location for explosives. Now, they actually ID'd this person pretty quickly. which is unusual for Belgium. We've seen cases before where they try to hide the identity of the individual because it has to have nothing to do with Islam. But they've actually identified him as Hicham D. They're not giving his surname, but his first name is Arabic. Surprise, surprise. And he's been a Belgian citizen. He was born in 1973. Again, obviously a Muslim, but he's a Belgian citizen who lives in one of these Islamic ghettos. So this is a guy who hasn't come in from Syria, hasn't come in from Afghanistan, isn't a newly arrived immigrant. He's a supposedly integrated migrant. Not even that. He's a Belgian citizen. Obviously, his parents were probably immigrants, but he's supposedly integrated. He's living in Belgium, but he's living in an Islamic ghetto. It's like Molenbeek, where the Paris massacre suspects, many of them, were living. Abdeslam, again, protected by his neighbors for months and months, who refused to report him to the authorities, even though they knew that he was living amongst them. This is the problem. These Islamic ghettos cultivate radicalization. The Belgian government does nothing about it. They just bring in more Muslim migrants who all flock to these Islamic ghettos, who are all radicalized in the same vein. Again, stabbed 2 police officers, obviously a terrorist attack. It's going to happen again and again because we've been sold this lie that multiculturalism works. It doesn't. This is monoculture that we're seeing again and again. Many of these people don't want to integrate, and it's a big problem. Similar story here on a similar subject out of the Express. EU orders British press not to reveal when terrorists are Muslims. Meddling Brussels has said the British press should not report when terrorists are Muslims in a slew of demands to the government to crack down on media. So this is a group within the European Union, European Commission Against Racism and Tolerance, ECRI, that have ordered the British media to not report the identity of a terrorist who is Muslim whenever there's a terrorist attack. Because, quote, it's no coincidence that racist violence is on the rise in the UK. And it goes on to say, in this context, it draws attention to a recent study which suggests that when the media stresses the Muslim background of perpetrators of terrorist attacks and devote significant coverage to it, in other words, tell the truth about what happened, which is kind of what the media is supposed to do. That's what reporters are supposed to do after terrorist attack happened. Who was behind it? What was their motive? That's what people want to know. That's their job. But no, can't do that anymore because it's Islamophobic and it, quote, encourages a violent backlash against Muslims. And that's the most important thing, is possibly causing someone to make mean comments towards a Muslim on public transport the day after a massive terror attack. They're actually ordering the British media to censor itself and not report the identity, the belief system, the motivation of the perpetrator. So it's gone beyond saying not all Muslims, saying Islam is a religion of peace, now to the level where they're saying don't even report the fact that they're Muslims. The next phase, which I've talked about before, is to have terror attacks happen and then for the media to just not report on them at all, like they didn't even happen. Or to say that it was just a criminal, a mentally ill person, to hide the very nature of the attack. This is the danger of political correctness. We've gone through the examples. Political correctness kills. It killed in the case of the San Bernardino terrorists. Again, they were receiving packages to their address. The neighbors were suspicious. They were thinking about reporting them to the authorities. They didn't because they feared being called racist. Concrete example of how political correctness, when it comes to Islamophobia, those concerns trumped safety concerns. People died as a result. You can look at Rotherham, England. Again, on the doorstep of where I used to live. For 10 years plus, over a decade, thousands of young girls trafficked, sexually abused by Muslim paedophile rape gangs. None of them were caught because the authorities refused to believe the victims, said they were racist, said they were Islamophobic, didn't want to prosecute the perpetrators for fear themselves in local government and police of being called bigoted, Islamophobic, racist. Another concrete example of how political correctness harms. And we're seeing it again. Now they're ordering the British media not to report that terrorists are Muslims. You know, we had CNN a few weeks ago with the New York attack, you know, chastising Donald Trump for saying it was a bomb. Well, it was a bomb, but that's politically incorrect. You can't say the word bomb anymore. You had the BBC reporting, asking the question a few months ago, is it politically incorrect to call terrorists terrorists? They actually asked that question because, God forbid, you might offend a terrorist. So we've got this propaganda at the moment sweeping Europe as people are arrested for criticizing Angela Merkel on Facebook, trying to convince us that Islamophobic hate crimes are exploding. They're not. It's a complete lie. Hate crime prosecutions have fallen, but they floated that myth so they could blame it on Brexit, so they could create this narrative that this hate crime epidemic is sweeping the country. It's not. But what do we see after every single terror attack? We saw it after Nice. The main concern from the regressive left is Islamophobia. Well, I'm sorry, but somebody saying something mean to a Muslim on public transport, that's not nice. But that's not the biggest threat, okay? That's not the biggest concern. Islamofascism is the biggest concern until we recognize it, realize it, and actually have the guts to say the term Islamic terrorism. Then we're only going to encourage more attacks. And there's been another one in Brussels today. This is the issue. We're all upset about so-called Islamophobia, upsetting Muslims, God forbid, hate crime epidemic, which actually doesn't exist, sweeping Europe. When on the flip side, we're importing millions of people who adhere to a belief system that spawned something known as the rape game. This is part of their belief system. You have Afghanistan, where part of their belief system is for the elder men to rape young boys. Just part of their culture. Again, US troops tried to blow the whistle on that. They were told to shut up. Just part of their culture. They actually have something called Taharush Gamia, the rape game. And you've seen it in Egypt, in Tahrir Square. Logan, the reporter, again, dragged, beaten, raped by tens and tens of men, dozens of men. Thought she was going to die. That's the rape game in action. We've seen it in Cologne. We've seen it at music festivals in Sweden. That's the real concern. But they don't even report on it. They only report on the supposed Islamophobic hate crime wave that's sweeping the country. When actual hate crime prosecutions are down, it's a complete myth, completely invented by the media. We just had Oktoberfest in Germany. Again, massive cultural festival, God forbid, Germans celebrating their own culture. That's racist in and of itself, probably. 300,000 less people attended this year. Why? Well, because Germany has been beset by a wave of terror attacks by migrants, in most cases, over the entire summer. They've had Cologne, they've had Hamburg, they've had crime across the country, migrants attacked. This is the cultural enrichment that we're being told to tolerate. Germans on ads in hijabs saying this must be tolerated. This is the new Germany. Well, not for a lot of Germans who are now calling on Merkel to go. She's losing support fast. We'll get more into it after the break on the Alex Jones Show Live. Don't go away. We're back live. It's the Alex Jones Show. We're going to play the truth about Alicia Mercado here in a second, a video that I put out again. They tried to paint Trump as a misogynist, as a sexist with this. It completely blew up in their faces. But the mainstream media is still insistent on peddling this absolute hoax. We're going to get to that clip here in a minute. But first, I want to encourage you to go to InfoWarsLife.com, where we've got 23% off DNA Force for a limited time while supplies last. Again, this is not going to last too long at this discount. DNA Force is loaded with the patented BioPQQ compound, which is backed by 175 clinical studies and extremely hard to secure. This patented ingredient in DNA Force contains more potent antioxidant activity than vitamin C. Bottom line is, you go and look at the reviews, people are raving about this. It supports this network. We're not funded by George Soros. We're not funded by giant pharmaceutical companies. We're not funded by the government like NPR. We're funded by you, and your support is the only thing that allows us to sustain ourselves, to grow, to take on the mainstream media, to send reporters out into the field, to take them on directly, to challenge their narrative at this crucial time. So go to InfoWarsLife.com, get 23% off DNA Force. We've also got biodefense. InfoWars Life, a superior blend of 50 billion with a B, live and active cultures from 23 different probiotic strains, which are known to support digestion and intestinal function. Gut health is very important. Again, go and read the 5-star reviews at InfoWarsLife.com. Independent reviews from listeners who have got these products. They've worked for them. They've come back and bought them again. Again, 23% off DNA Force. We've also got Biome Defense at InfoWarsLife.com. Now we're going to get to the Alicia Mercado clip here in a second, so let's get that queued up. Elon Musk is a sexist, is a misogynist. Why? Did he make mean comments about women, God forbid, 20 years ago? No. Elon Musk is not following enough women on Twitter, and that means he's a closet sexist. Yes, that's actually a story put out by Vice.com motherboard that Elon Musk, the inventor, the technological guru, is a sexist because he follows more men than women on Twitter. Elon Musk shot back. He said, quote, "I use Twitter for news organizations. My Instagram has the same amount of women as men. What's up with the phony PC police axe grinding?" And you can probably guess what their response was to that. Oh, so you only use Instagram to look at women? God forbid. God forbid a man would actually enjoy looking at attractive women. We can't have that anymore. That's not allowed. That's sexist. But just think about this. Obviously, there are more men than women in the public eye when it comes to politics and technology. That's just a fact. Of course, that's the fault of the evil patriarchy, but that's another subject. He's not even using Twitter to follow individuals. The vast majority of people or accounts that he follows on Twitter are news organizations, CNN, Reuters, whatever, not individuals. Firstly, what kind of lame frigging journalist thought that who Elon Musk follows on Twitter is even a story to begin with? I mean, we're at the most crucial time in the election. We've got nuclear war with Russia being talked about, and this idiot is writing about who Elon Musk follows on Twitter and saying that makes him a sexist. Give me a break. Again, policing of language, policing of thought, it's not enough. They're now policing who you follow on Twitter. These are the control freaks that want to run our lives. Remember the Guardian writer, the feminist. She looked over somebody's shoulder on a train. They were scrolling through who they followed on Twitter, and this thought criminal, this misogynist, this evil sexist followed more men than women. She wrote an article publicly shaming him. Saudi Arabia has only just allowed women to ride bicycles for fun. They're not even allowed to ride them for transportation purposes. And yet, this is what feminists are concerned about. Who Elon Musk follows on Twitter. I mean, give me a break. Another social justice warrior story. Again, this is up on my Twitter. You can go and watch the video. University of Kansas. Aggressive, intolerant mob of SJWs surround and berate Young Americans for Freedom meeting. And it's so progressive for them to encircle like a mob, ravenous, aggressive, fist-pumping, because this group, Young Americans for Freedom, dared to have a meeting in their own university. Literally, there's 5 of them sat round a table, surrounded by 50, 60, 70 angry SJWs lecturing them about their temerity for merely having a meeting. They don't get to have a safe space, but the SJWs do. Go and watch this video on my Twitter feed. Again, they're berating them. They're banging their fists on the table, saying, how dare you even speak with your white cisgender privilege. One of the SJWs says to one of the Young Americans for Freedom participants, quote, how dare you tell me to calm down, you cisgender white male. Well, newsflash. Banging your fists on the table and yelling at people to shut up because they're white isn't a substitute for an argument. And you're the racist. Again, this is what we see over and over again. The very people who cry, you're a racist all day long, they're the ones judging people on their skin color. They're the ones saying that certain people with a certain skin color can't have an opinion, don't have free speech. That is the ultimate form of racism. Again, they don't believe in equality. These people are racists, actual racists, collectively judging people on their skin color, denying people their rights because of their skin color. That is the very definition of racism. Again, determining that you can censor someone and shut down their private assembly and impinge on their free speech rights because of their skin color, that makes you the bigot. Okay? You've literally got this SJW moron lecturing this guy, banging her fist on the table, saying that how dare he even challenge her? He's white. How dare he even have a voice? Well, that is the SJW engaging in hate speech. They're the ones who engage in hate speech. They're the ones who engage in flagrant racism. And it needs to be pointed out. You've got another clip which I posted earlier. Again, another rally out on the street, numerous people involved. You've got a feminist chanting, assault is not okay. That's their chant. Assault is not okay. While she physically assaults a man and slaps him in the face. She's there on video just smacking him around. Again, while chanting, assault is not okay. Complete, unbridled hypocrisy. These people are violent. These people are aggressive. These people are the real racists. And they demonstrate it on a daily basis again and again and again. We see it all the time. So again, we've got that story, that video, and that's going to go up on Infowars.com. Now, of course, Alicia Mercado came out, or Hillary Clinton released her name during the debate in an attempt to attack Donald Trump because he may allegedly have called a woman fat 20 years ago, God forbid. I mean, it's not like Hillary wrecked the Middle East and wants war with Russia. That's not important. Donald Trump may have called somebody Miss Piggy 20 years ago. No actual evidence for that, as we'll see in the clip. But they're still floating this. And we're going to talk about it more after the video, the truth about Alicia Mercado. Here it is. Hillary Clinton, the amazing feminist who accepts hundreds of millions of dollars from countries that oppress women, calls women bimbos, and intimidates Bill Clinton's rape victims, played the vagina card once again during the debates in an effort to smear Trump as a woman hater.
And one of the worst things he said was about a woman in a beauty contest. Donald, she has a name.
Where did you find
her
this?
name
Where
is
did you find
Alicia
this?
Machado.
Where did you find
and
it?
she has become a U.S. citizen, and you can bet she's going to vote this November.
Okay, good.
So who is Alicia Mercado, this amazing role model for young women who's standing up against a torrent of misogynistic abuse? She's accused of driving the getaway car for a murder attempt. She threatened to kill a judge. She had an illegitimate child with a Mexican drug lord. She also had sex on reality TV while being engaged to someone else. What a fantastic feminist role model for young women. This is Hillary's campaign poster child.
He can say whatever he wants to say. I don't care. You know, I have my past. Of course, everybody has. Everybody have a past.
Yeah, not everybody's past includes being accused of acting as an accomplice in an attempted murder and threatening to kill a judge. That's kind of out of the ordinary, Alicia. But Trump is the villain of the piece for allegedly fat-shaming her, even though CNN did exactly the same thing. He's bad for being judgmental of beauty in a beauty pageant that he owned. Watch the video where Trump supposedly fat-shames her. He's being incredibly complimentary. In fact, it's Trump who's defending her against others who are pressuring her over her weight.
I felt that Alicia was one of the most beautiful women I'd ever seen. It was incredible. And all of the folks that were here agreed with that. Alicia is like me and like a lot of other people. I love to eat. We all love to eat. Not all of us. Some of you are lucky, but we eat. We like to eat. And she had tremendous pressure put on her with the win and everything else. Plus, she was going from country to country, all foreign places.
And there was a huge amount of pressure. When she won the contest, I had never seen anybody more beautiful. And she's totally beautiful now. You know, you have a lot of people that have problems with weight, eating disorders, whatever you want to call it. A lot of people. I mean, I'm looking at a lot of you reporters, and I can't believe how many shut up. But a lot of you folks have weight problems, I hate to tell you. But doesn't it?
Mercado also brazenly lied when she said that Trump's mean comments led to her eating disorder. She had that disorder before she even entered Miss Universe.
You said as a result of what he said to you, you developed an eating disorder, bulimia, and anorexia. But you had said publicly at the time that you suffered from both of those eating disorders prior to the Miss Universe contest, and really, you know, had come into...
No, never prior than Miss Universe pageant. I never.
Well, this is from
any problem before the Miss Universe.
Well, this is from the Washington Post. That
happened.
Let me just tell you. Let me just tell you what I'm referring to, and then you respond. The Washington Post from May 16th, 1997, reported this quote from you: "I was anorexic and bulimic, but almost all of us are. When I was preparing for Miss Universe, it was an obsession for me to not gain weight. By the time I won, I was actually recovering, but the year leading to it, I didn't eat at all, and whatever I ate, I threw up. I weighed 116 pounds when I won. I was skeletal." So it sounds like, without diminishing anything that you went through after Trump, it does sound like you had an eating disorder prior to his comments and prior to winning.
So Trump drew attention to this sex tape where Mercado romps on screen while being engaged to someone else, and Hillary accused him of being a conspiracy theorist, claiming that Mercado never appeared in a sex tape, even though she clearly did appear in a sex tape. But the New York Times says its fact checkers found no evidence of a sex tape. So she's having sex on tape, and that's not a sex tape. Oh, but that was just a risque scene, the Times reported. Listen to what Mercado was recorded on tape saying during the encounter. "Oh, your dick, my love. What a tasty dick. Your dick is divine." Does that sound risque to you? Or does it sound like what you'd hear on a sex tape? The New York Times is flagrantly lying to its readers, and Trump has been vindicated yet again. Alicia Mercado clearly appeared in a sex tape. That's a fact. You had grimy sex on national television, yet you accused Trump of objectifying you. Yeah, Alicia, I think you did a pretty good job of objectifying yourself. Hillary's decisions led to 4 dead Americans, a ruined country, the displacement of millions of people, and the international migrant crisis. And yet Trump's the terrible person for allegedly calling a woman fat 20 years ago. And this is what the media wants to talk about. Hillary vowed to crucify women who were victims of her sexual predator husband. She laughed about defending a child rapist who molested a 12-year-old girl. She takes mountains of cash from Saudi Arabia, a country that treats women like cattle. She intimidates vulnerable female rape victims. But it's Trump who hates women because he called Rosie O'Donnell fat and encouraged Miss Universe to lose weight while representing a beauty pageant that he owned. Really? Women don't fear for their life because of Donald Trump. They do fear for their life because of the Clintons. Until the media reports on Hillary intimidating Bill's rape victims, they can shut the hell up about Trump's treatment of women. Alicia Mercado is a terrible role model for young women. And yes, she appeared in a sex tape. And now all this has come to light. It's blown up in Hillary's stupid face, which is why the New York Times and the rest of the corrupt establishment media is having to lie about it to run defense for her. That is the truth about Alicia Mercado. It's up on my YouTube channel, again exposing another one of these media hoaxes. 6 months ago, I wasn't even vehemently that pro-Trump. I mean, I supported Rand Paul at the start of the Republican debates. It was the media's obvious agenda. In fact, they came out themselves and said, we've dispensed with any pretense of neutrality or objectivity. We can't let this man in the White House. We can't let him have his finger on the nuclear codes because he's literally Hitler and he's going to destroy the world. It was that kind of hysteria. and that kind of media hoax, and they come out with these on a regular basis, that drove me to be more pro-Trump, simply because of this absolute complete bias in every single situation. You saw it with Alicia Mercado again. The New York Times put out an article saying it was a conspiracy theory, that their fact checkers didn't find any evidence for the fact that she was in a sex tape, even though she was in a sex tape. Okay, it's been public knowledge for years. Hillary tried to exalt this Alicia Mercado as a big feminist icon for her campaign, which is based on absolutely nothing. It's blown up in their faces. But again, how will it affect the polls? We don't know. We don't really get a sense of that benchmark. But again, if you actually dig into the facts, it's being completely exposed. On the subject of fat shaming, which is not even what Donald Trump did, but Demi Lovato, who is some vacuous airhead celebrity, who I don't even care who it is, criticized Taylor Swift for body shaming by body shaming her. So this celebrity came out and said that Taylor Swift and her crew were sending out a bad message to young women because they were thin, because they kept themselves in shape. So body shaming is now not just saying that, you know, being fat is unattractive and unhealthy. It's the mere act of not being fat and unattractive, taking care of yourself, being in shape. That is now fat shaming, according to social justice warriors. And deeper down the rabbit hole we go. We'll be back with the final segment of the Alex Jones Show after the break. Breaking news at Infowars.com. We are back for the final segment of the Alex Jones Show. Leonardo DiCaprio says that if you don't believe in climate change, you should not be allowed to hold public office. This is a guy who literally takes dozens of private jet flights every year. He has private yachts. They don't run on solar power, do they? He flew on a private jet from New York to LA 6 times in 6 weeks. That came out in the Sony hack. Leonardo DiCaprio is a complete hypocrite, but he says if you don't believe in climate change, you shouldn't be allowed to hold public office. Well, if you take private jets, Leo, to collect environmental awards, you shouldn't be allowed to talk about global warming, to talk about the environment. Complete, absolute hypocrite. In fact, he tried to come back and claim, oh, I donate money to this carbon neutral charity which plants trees to offset my carbon footprint, which he claimed was 11 tons a year. Well, they actually did a study into this. The average person in the US emits 19 tons of carbon dioxide a year. And they're not Leonardo DiCaprio. They're not taking private jets everywhere to collect environmental awards. They're not going out on giant yachts. Actually turned out that his carbon footprint was 44 tons in a single year. And that was just from the airline trips. That doesn't include the private yachts or anything else. Absolute complete hypocrite. He's been exposed. He was exposed in the other embezzling scandal. But again, he says that if you don't believe in climate change, if you don't parrot everything to do with that, then you shouldn't be allowed to get ahead in life. But he can, even though he's a complete hypocrite and takes private jets everywhere. Now, a story we came out with on Monday. Again, this was an exclusive. We got the whistleblower. Hillary killed Libya peace deal over personal vendetta. Dr. Kilari Paul, he was a global peace ambassador. He went to Libya before the fall of Libya, agreed the deal with Muammar Gaddafi, agreed to hand over control, have peaceful democratic elections, end his own 42-year dictatorship. That deal was overseen by General Wesley Clark, by Denis Kucinich. This was on the record. The Libyan Prime Minister sent a letter to the White House saying, we agree to this deal. We want peace. We want to end hostility. We want to have free elections in Libya. Hillary Clinton killed it dead because of a personal vendetta, because Gaddafi had supported Obama over her during the 2008 presidential election. We now have this on record from whistleblowers. Of course, what did Libya lead to? Well, arming the jihadists led to the rise of ISIS. ISIS took over the country in the vacuum that was left as Gaddafi's forces melted. They took over all that sophisticated weaponry. Of course, this led to Benghazi, 4 dead Americans. It led to the escalation of hostilities in Syria, more jihadist rebels there committing atrocities. It led to the international migrant crisis. Thousands of people drowning in the Mediterranean Ocean every single year, all because Hillary Clinton, over her own personal vindictive vendetta, killed this peace deal in Libya. It's on record. We've got the whistleblowers. We've got the congressman, the former civil rights leader, Walter E. Fauntroy, again on record saying the same thing, backing this up. This is a huge story. It hasn't received anything like the traction it deserves. A few other outlets have picked it up, but we need you to get it out there. The headline is exclusive. Hillary killed Libya peace deal over personal vendetta, claims whistleblower. It's a huge story. It's a huge exclusive, and it could really damage Hillary Clinton because it gets to the heart of the fact of how she aided ISIS. She aided in the collapse of that country, Benghazi, and the crisis. But that's going to wrap it up for the show. InfoWars Nightly News coming up. Alex will be back tomorrow, 11 to 2. Breaking news at Infowars.com. Thanks for joining.
The Alex Jones Show, because there is a war on for your mind.
Look, I'm not going to sit here and say, see, I told you so, that communist Chinese-style net censorship was coming to the web, because it's already here. It's being announced. The way you keep the internet open and free is you get involved more than ever. Go to Infowars.com/app. A new battleship in the fight. Infowars Live. Available right now. We're looking for a crew to man it. You going to sit down and play games and be a trendy? Or are you going to be part of history? Don't sit by and let the internet and free speech be stolen from you. Take action. I am very proud to announce the introduction of the highest quality Infowars Biome Defense Probiotic. We wanted to come out with the largest spectrum of high-quality, known probiotics that have been proven to improve overall digestion and health and detoxification in the body. Biome Defense is an exclusive blend of 50 billion live and active cultures from over 23 different probiotic strains that are known to support digestion and intestinal function. Our researchers are confident that we have been able to develop what will be the leading probiotic on the market. Secure your Biome Defense in ultra strength or regular strength at InfoWarsLife.com today and get started supporting your digestive system naturally. We've been testing this formula for years, but this is the limited first run to the public, so please take advantage of it today. Support your own health and support the InfoWar.